The main character was considered a useless person, unable to pass university entrance exams. However, during the first physical examination, he unleashed a blow that sent all 15 1-meter-thick walls flying. This left the teacher and students utterly shocked on the spot. After proceeding to the strength and endurance test, he continued to be looked down upon. Someone believed to have the best endurance challenged him with the rule: whoever collapses first loses. As a result, the main character casually slapped him once, sending him flying hundreds of meters away, unconscious on the spot. The main character could not have imagined that he had been framed, becoming a sacrifice devoured by Shenlong. Not only did he not die, but he also, through his bloodline, performed a binding art with Shed Yao. When the main character receives all pain and damage, they will all be 100% synchronized onto Shenlong's body. As long as Shenlong does not die, the main character can revive infinitely. But this caused Shenlong, when transformed into human form, to endure indescribable suffering. Whether she was bathing or fishing, Shenlong would naturally bleed from her 7 orifices. To minimize the synchronized damage, she threw the main character a book titled Precognition Cultivation Method. True to its name, no matter what technique it was, as long as the main character saw it, he would immediately foresee it. While others painstakingly practiced a technique for 3 years, the main character only needed to see it once to immediately comprehend it. Even his power was amplified many times over. It turns out the main character was originally the last bloodline of an immortal cultivation family. But his talent was too poor, so he never awakened. His girlfriend, whom he had been with for 3 months, grew to despise him even more and directly broke up with him in front of everyone at the company. After learning about this, Department Director Zang immediately changed his usual demeanor, carrying a bag of drinks up to the rooftop to find the main character. The main character originally thought that the director was the type of person who had a harsh tongue but a soft heart. However, after only a few sips, he felt dizzy. Just a second later, he fainted and collapsed on the spot. When he opened his eyes, he found himself tightly bound in place by 2 chains. It wasn't because the director had strange hobbies, but because the main character possessed a spirit root, ancient bloodline. To be used as a sacrifice is truly an insult. As a form of retribution, Shenlong also bestowed upon this director a core condensing pill for cultivation. Before you die, do you have any last words? The main character merely took a breath and replied, "Your mouth stinks too much. How about you brush your teeth before eating me?" Shenlong was enraged by the main character's words and directly bit him. As punishment, Shenlong chose to eat him slowly and thoroughly. The immense pain made the main character's expression change, becoming somewhat dazed. A strong desire to survive erupted. Thus, he unintentionally activated his ancient bloodline. Additionally, he successfully activated Forbidden Art, Life-Death Coexistence, which cast a death curse upon the main character's enemy, while the main character himself became the life curse. All damage received by the life curse will be synchronized with the death curse. Furthermore, as long as the death curse remains alive, the life curse will always be resurrected. The second art is dual annihilation. Once this life-death art is used, the life-death bodies will be annihilated together, neither having the ability to survive, unless there is intervention from a top-tier immortal art from outside. After reviewing all the information, the main character was sent back to the classroom. Before the main character could clarify the situation, a foot was already stomping on his desk. The thug threatened the main character that he had to pay protection money every month, otherwise he would flick his junk in front of everyone. After speaking, he ostentatiously performed a flash step down the stairs. But how could the main character ignore him? He immediately struck the thug's leg, directly sending him flying from the 6th floor to the ground. His face was still pressed firmly into the ground, forming a large crater. The other students only felt regret. If this guy had died from the fall, their rankings could have increased by 1 level. But this Zang Shibai practiced the cultivation technique 100 refinements iron. This height was completely incapable of injuring him. Not long after, he stood up from the pit. Pointing at the sky, he shouted, "Meet me at the school gate after class." Green-haired heard this and advised the main character to run away quickly, because this Zang Shibai was a notorious thug, and his family was powerful. Those who had previously confronted him had long since had green grass growing on their graves. After class, the thug led a few of his subordinates to wait for the main character in the alley. However, the main character was not afraid of them at all and walked directly towards them. Seeing the main character's fearless face, the thug felt a little uneasy, wondering if he had encountered someone pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. A bunch of cowards. So many of you, yet you don't dare to wait at the school gate, making me come all the way to this place.
Hit me. Hearing main character's challenge, the silver-haired man unleashed a kick, directly knocking main character to the ground on the spot. "You're so weak, yet you still like to act tough with us," the long-haired man said with a laugh, walking over mockingly. "That was a body refinement 5th stage kick just now. Your internal organs must be shattered. You probably won't live much longer." However, main character claimed not to feel any pain at all, hitting people without strength and still trying to act like a gangster. The long-haired man retorted angrily, You're on the verge of death, yet you still dare to act tough with me. Now I'm going to kick your head to a pulp." Only a clack was heard, and his powerful kick struck nothing but air. The bald man saw a kick flying towards his head, immediately breaking out in a cold sweat from fear. The long-haired man, reacting in time, screamed in terror. Falling to the ground, he continuously rolled around, clutching his leg. Only then did a silver-haired girl instantly appear before main character. Seeing this, the bald man immediately drew his weapon, unleashed a killing move, directly launching an explosion aimed at the girl. The shockwave was so powerful that the buildings in the alley were all affected. When the smoke and dust cleared, the sight before them left the two men gaping. The girl was seen standing perfectly still, having blocked the attack. Not only was she unharmed, but she'd also timely released a barrier to protect the surrounding buildings. Zang keenly sensed that the opponent was no ordinary person, and immediately shouted for the two men to flee. But no sooner had he spoken than the bald man exploded on the spot. Seeing this scene, Zang collapsed to the ground.
Clearly wanting to escape, but her legs had no strength left. It turned out this girl was Shenlong, who usually drank tea and played chess in the Immortal Palace. Suddenly, her body bled. Using her divine sense to scan, she discovered a death curse on her hand. However, with her divine abilities, she couldn't remove that death curse no matter what she did. Thus, she could only go to the mortal realm to find the main character. However, the main character said he didn't know how to solve it. Hearing this, the dragon lady immediately went mad, grabbed the main character and furiously slammed him to the ground. Just a second later, the dragon lady spat out a mouthful of tomato syrup. Because the damage was resonant, the more she hit the main character, the greater her own damage became. This way was not good either. The dragon lady planned to return first, then slowly research how to dispel this curse. Seeing this, the main character immediately stopped her. He said, "Last time you ate me, so it's not too much for me to ask for some compensation, right?" The dragon lady coldly asked, "What if I don't give it?" The main character just sneered, threatening the dragon lady that if she didn't give it, he would continuously immerse himself in sulfuric acid to die.
Make her sweat profusely in a frenzy. To ensure the main character had no ill intentions, she could only throw him a reserve cultivation technique. After cultivating, although it couldn't guarantee becoming an immortal, it could at least ensure he passed the entrance exam for a top university and wouldn't have to worry about food and shelter. At the same time, Zang was still trembling in a corner, his head pressed tightly against the wall, not daring to breathe heavily. As for this kind of trembling, the dragon lady didn't even bother to kill him, using her magic power to erase all his memories of today. By the time he woke up, it was already early morning the next day. The body cultivation teacher was explaining the rules for the penetrating destructive power test. On the track, more than a dozen solid earth walls, 1 meter thick, would appear. Regardless of whether it was chi refining or body cultivation, piercing through one wall met the standard, and the student ranked last would be considered for expulsion. The first person to be tested was the hooligan Zang. He was seen taking a spear and throwing it into the distance. Boom, 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 the spear pierced through 5 layers of solid earth walls. His achievement was already considered peak body cultivation, because ordinary people could at most pierce through 3 layers. Coincidentally, the next person to be tested was the main character. The invigilating teacher paid no attention to him. If his performance was not up to par, he would definitely be expelled.
However, the main character was not worried at all, because they were merely body cultivators, only at the chi refining stage. On the contrary, the main character was an immortal cultivator, directly unleashing the cultivation technique, Dark Underworld Long Heart Lightning. Seeing the main character go onto the stage empty-handed, the old teacher sneered. "Going onto the stage empty-handed? Are you preparing for the shot put event? Could it be that our class has produced a top-tier student capable of void creation?" Amidst the mocking laughter of the entire class, the main character raised his hand and created a dark crimson lightning orb, then threw it forcefully forward. Just 1 second later, 15 earthen walls were all pierced through, directly leaving the old teacher speechless with his mouth agape. But what was even more incredible was that dark orb did not stop at all, continuously flew up into the sky, finally hitting the defensive barrier before disappearing completely. The old teacher let out a sigh. Fortunately, the earthen walls weakened the power of the Long Heart Lightning. Once it flew out of the barrier, if it hit someone else, it would be very troublesome.
But even so, main character's achievements were enough to be recorded in the school's annals. Everyone began to think that he was a prodigy possessing talent or a blood relative of some great sect. As soon as school ended, main character rushed home like a shot. Because this cultivation technique also had a side effect, he had to complete the corresponding cultivation technique within a specified time. Otherwise, he would suffer reduced cultivation, and it could even cause a weakening effect on his bloodline restriction. He had previously bought the cultivation technique Dark Underworld Long Heart Lightning, but now he couldn't find it no matter what. Helpless, he could only buy it for 200,000 on Shopee, and then went to the back mountain to continue his cultivation.
After 6 hours of continuous cultivation, main character finally completed his cultivation debt in the last 30 seconds. Just as he was feeling smug, his heart suddenly stopped beating. It turned out main character had over-cultivated, leading to instant death. Fortunately, he possessed infinite resurrection ability. Poor Dragon Lord in the heavens, who had just finished bathing, suddenly started bleeding uncontrollably. The next day's exam had begun. This time the content was to test palm force and strike resistance. This meant 2 people would spar, and whoever fell first would lose. However, this was Zhang Zibai's greatest strength. His 100 refinements iron cultivation method reigned supreme among the students this term. Even the palm force of the strongest student, Zhao Yikai, couldn't compare. When Zhao Yikai's palm force was unleashed, it couldn't make Zhang Zibai fall. On the contrary, Zhao Yikai himself was knocked unconscious by Zhang Zibai. It turned out this world was divided into 2 types of cultivation technique: open-source cultivation method and copyrighted cultivation method. Zhao Yikai's severing steel palm was an open-source cultivation method, a type of cultivation technique anyone could practice. Meanwhile, Zhang Zibai's 100 refinements iron cultivation method was a copyrighted cultivation method. Ordinary people who wished to learn it had to seek permission from the Copyright Bureau.
Unauthorized practice will lead to corresponding accountability and could even result in the destruction of one's clan. Soon, it was the main character's turn to go up to the stage for the test. However, he declared that there was no need for sequential matches and that they could all face him together. After speaking, he immediately demonstrated the severing steel palm technique. Zhang Zibai confidently countered the move. Unexpectedly, the main character suddenly changed his technique, performing Zhang Zibai's cultivation technique, 100 refined steel. In just 1 second, Zhang Zibai was sent flying hundreds of meters away by the main character, stuck firmly to the wall, unable to break free. Everyone watching was dumbfounded in astonishment. The old examiner also wore a bewildered expression, but he still recognized that the main character had just used the basic move of severing steel palm, then added a bit of 100 refined steel. Isn't that the Zang family's copyrighted cultivation technique? It has an extremely high threshold in cultivation difficulty. Unauthorized learning of a copyrighted cultivation technique would lead to the catastrophic consequence of clan destruction. Is this young man not afraid? Thinking of this, the teacher immediately changed his attitude, becoming respectful. He asked the main character where he, a grandmaster, came from. Hearing this, the main character leaned close and whispered 3 words to him: Dragon Lord. At the same time, elsewhere, Zhang Zibai's elder brother, Zhang Zhitian, was meticulously examining an image of the main character. He mused, I didn't expect this young fellow to still be alive. Could it be that the ruthless Dragon Lord showed him mercy? After confirming that the next competition involved poison concoction and poison chanting, an evil plan formed in his mind. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to him, the main character was continuously training on old cars in a junkyard, while also cultivating his cultivation technique. This also helped him earn a bit of living expenses, truly killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, to supplement his cultivation technique, he still had to endure being hit 20 more times. Just then, an assassin called out to the main character, Are you Heishin? I've been entrusted by young Master Zhang to come here and teach you a lesson.
The main character was now as joyful as a blooming flower, hastily urging the assassin to act quickly. The assassin was still troubled because his mission was incomplete. He saw that the main character had just entered the spirit guiding realm, yet showed no fear, even though he himself possessed the 9th layer of spirit guiding realm. Sweat dripped down the assassin's forehead. He then tried to throw a punch, sending the main character flying over 100 meters. It turned out that the main character was merely a weakling, unable to resist even a casual blow. After saying this, the assassin continuously launched small attacks. But the strange thing was that no matter how he struck, the main character's face still bore an enigmatic smile. The assassin's mood became somewhat frantic. He decisively unleashed an ultimate skill, 3 punches in 1 move, all of which were fatal blows. He had originally thought he could finish off the main character, but just a second later, the main character revived, leaving the assassin utterly shocked on the spot. This was because the recovery speed was so fast that even a peak spirit guiding realm healer couldn't achieve it.
He immediately added another strike. This final attack, just in time, successfully replenished the main character's 100 refined iron. After completing the mission, the main character began to counterattack, first with a long heart lightning strike. While the assassin was not paying attention, the main character combined severing steel palm and 100 refined steel, striking a palm towards his abdomen. The assassin immediately flew thousands of meters away, crashing hard into 3 large trees before stopping. The meridians in his body were almost completely severed, and he had no choice but to use fortune chi to heal his injuries. Suddenly, a red light emanated from his face. Looking down, he discovered that the long heart lightning glasses were still in his hand. No matter how he tried to throw them, he couldn't. Just a second later, he was engulfed by an explosion, leaving behind only a pair of sunglasses. When the main character put them on, he discovered that they were a magic artifact, capable of enhancing dynamic perception, making it easy to see high-speed moving objects. Early the next morning, the 3rd chemistry exam round officially began. The content of the exam was making poisons and identifying poisons. On everyone's table were identical items, and they had to eat all the non-poisonous parts within the allotted time. Additionally, select poisonous items. The final score will be calculated based on speed and accuracy. Bonus points will be awarded if one can name the poison. Zhang Jibai smirked because he had already arranged for someone to poison all of the main character's items. This means that no matter what he eats, he will eventually be poisoned and die. The fishing line curved softly against the blue sky, falling down the cliff as if beginning a peaceful fishing trip. Dragonlord sat leisurely with her legs crossed, fishing, and murmured, "Sigh. After becoming a god, it's getting more and more boring. So boring that it's just bare." Suddenly, blood streamed from her eyes and nose, but Dragonlord's demeanor remained calm. The scene shifts to Heisen 5 minutes earlier. With lightning-fast hands, Heisen was rapidly shoveling the food from the tray into his mouth. Seeing him gobble down all the food in an instant, Qingyan said, "You actually ate it all. Classmate, what are you doing? Do you know you could die?" Sigh. Luckily, I anticipated there would be a fool like you and strictly controlled the dosage. Don't worry, it won't be fatal, but you should prepare yourself for diarrhea. On this side, Zhang Jibai laughed sinisterly. Haha, you're overthinking it. I've put poison in every type of food. This time, it's enough to kill you 5 times over. Haha. When the poison erupted, blood gushed from Heisen's eyes and mouth. Qingyan turned pale at the sight, her eyes wide with horror. The poison spread throughout Heisen's body, making him unable to stand, and he collapsed onto the floor. Qingyan frantically called out, "Classmate!"
She walked up to him, speculating, he's dead. The surrounding classmates also discussed, he's dead. Oh my God, tomorrow the school will be on the front page of the newspaper. On the front page for what? The deceased isn't a member of the great sect, nor is he a top student. Every year, it's very common for students to die suddenly during graduation, isn't it? That's great, I'm ranked 19th, just below him. He's dead, can I move up 1 rank? Qingyan thought, this is bad. This professional evaluation will definitely be affected. Which audacious person dared to pull a trick during my exam? Could it be that physical education teacher? He's competing with me in this industry evaluation. His suspicion is very high. At this moment, Heisin's illusion stood before her, wiped away the blood, and called out, "Teacher." Qingyan was stunned when she saw Heisin suddenly sit up. "You, how are you alive?" She muttered, "Since I started teaching, this is the first time I've encountered something like this. Whether it's feigned death or resurrection, this student's magic has even deceived me." Heisin held out 5 fingers and said all 5 types of food are poisoned, specifically long dissolving powder. On his left palm, 3 words appeared, 5 steps madness.
He said the last one was absolute veneration poison. Sister Bai was surprised and whispered, "This can't be right, can it?" To ensure there were no mistakes, the sect specifically sought out a poison master of the condensing true realm. This kid's background had been investigated early on, like a blank slate. How could such an unknown person possibly survive the poison of a condensing true realm master? That evening, back home, Qingyan was researching something in the lab. A close-up of the experiment, a blue liquid with flickering lights around it. She whispered, "Heishin's blood sample has finally been analyzed, and all the answers are correct. This isn't a poison that a physical education teacher, a simple-minded person with developed limbs, could administer. This is a poison crafted by a condensing true realm poison master. Even I had to spend half the night to complete the analysis." Qingyan opened her eyes and speculated, "Is this the emergence of a monster?" In the evening, the bookstore was still lit. Heizun looked at the books and said to Dragonlord, "I didn't expect there was such a way of speaking."
Dragonlord was sitting in the bathtub looking at his hand and saying, "This is your forbidden bloodline, yet you don't know how to use it. Truly too ignorant. Our blood is linked, and in the future we can use this method for urgent contact." He Sheng used a pen to write on his hand. "What's so special about this kind of secret communication? Don't immortals have more advanced methods of communication with mortals?" Dragonlord replied, "Do you think being an immortal is very free? To humanity, we are equivalent to a mobile nuclear deterrent. Every move we make is under the surveillance of the Heavenly Palace. I previously descended to the mortal realm without permission. If I casually establish contact with humans and the Heavenly Palace finds out, other immortals will come to cause trouble for me." He Sheng continued to write, "So can you tell me where I can get top-grade treasures?" She frowned. "Everything I can tell you has already been integrated into the cultivation technique I gave you earlier. You just need to follow the hints." Suddenly, drops of blood on his hand fell to the floor. The bookstore employees saw this and exclaimed, "Oh, I know the academic pressure on high school students is immense, but it's not to the point of harming yourselves right here in the bookstore, is it? I'll be the one who has to clean up the blood on the floor later."
He replied, "My apologies. I'll clean up the blood stain on the floor later. Actually, I wanted to ask about some books." She asked, "What kind of books?" Heishin replied, "I'm in high school now. If I want to strive for the condensing true realm, are there any good guidebooks?" She was surprised. There's still almost a year until the university entrance exam, and you're already preparing to challenge the condensing true realm? Heishin hesitated. Is the condensing true realm difficult?" The staff member explained, "Huh? Are you really a 12th grade student? Your common sense is a bit lacking. If you can break through to the condensing true realm during the university entrance exam, then you're guaranteed a spot. If you can break through to the condensing true realm now, then you can directly apply for a direct admission spot. After that, she took a few books from the shelf and said, "Students nowadays are increasingly overly ambitious and underskilled."
She held up 3 books in front of him and said, "These are the 3 best-selling books in the store. It would be excellent if you could master the knowledge within them." Hae-shin didn't wait for the clerk to finish speaking. He had already chosen a book. He went straight to the checkout counter, slammed the book onto the table and said, "I'll take this one." The clerk sighed helplessly. "Sigh, you're not going to listen to advice anyway, are you? Suit yourself." Then he took the book and flipped through the pages quickly like a gust of wind, all the way to the last page. The clerk was curious. Such a difficult book, and he's directly flipping to the last page? Isn't this being overconfident and underskilled? Sigh, there's no helping this person. Hae-shin stood casually with his hands in his pockets, reading the book. To break through to the condensing true realm, one needs to satisfy the condition of reaching the 10th layer of chi refining or body tempering. Additionally, a core condensing pill is needed to aid the breakthrough. This process can cause severe injury to the body due to the outburst of spiritual energy within. Therefore, a large quantity of high-grade healing medicine and solidify foundation pills are needed, not to mention the significant consumption of resources and wealth. There's even a possibility of sudden death during the core condensing process. After reading, he rubbed his chin and thought, I understand. I only need to prepare a core condensing pill. The scene shifts to Zibai. At this moment, inside his house, his voice echoed outwards. "How did you handle things? You're a condensing true realm poison master, and you couldn't even poison a high school student to death?" His subordinate immediately bowed and explained, "Young Master Zang, please calm your anger. There must have been some mistake here. Please give me another chance. I will definitely make sure he dies a gruesome death." Zibai sat on the sofa, cracking his knuckles. "Now his overall score ranking is already 10th in the class. I won't allow this thorn in my side to have things go so smoothly." He snorted. "I'll give you one more week. If you can't kill him, report to me." Suddenly, there was a strange noise from the ceiling, and he looked up. At this moment, Hae-shin was holding a sword, breaking through the ceiling, and lunged directly at Zibai.
Not long before that, a guard was on strict patrol outside, his eyes scanning in all directions. He suddenly saw the body of his fallen colleague, lying straight below. The guard immediately realized there was an intruder and needed to raise the alarm quickly. He barely managed to let out a cry before immediately being struck a blow to the back of his neck. Hae-shin, after eliminating another one, continued to infiltrate the villa. In the blink of an eye, he had dealt with all the guards outside. Hae-shin stood on the rooftop, concentrating on pinpointing the source of the sound inside. I'll give you one more week. If you still can't kill him, bring me your head." He had found his target, and without a moment's hesitation, he raised his powerful arm. Hae-shin pierced straight through the 2 sturdy layers of the house's floor. Sister Bai sat right below, puzzled by the unusual sound coming from above her head. Not letting Sister Bai wait long, he broke through the ceiling, plunging precisely into where she was sitting. Hae-shin plunged his sword straight through Sister Bai, and it went through the chair as well. He gently landed on the chair with the blade still firmly embedded in Sister Bai. The blade pierced Sister Bai's shoulder, and the pain made her entire body tremble. Sister Bai, in pain, tried to launch a counterattack, but was easily blocked by Hae-shin. She was sent flying straight into the wall with a terrifying force.
Zibai's body slammed hard into the wall, making the entire house shake. At the same time, a barrage of sharp needles was launched straight at him from behind. Hae-shin easily blocked those needles with just one hand. He glared, his sharp gaze quickly darting backward. Hae-shin immediately blocked the subordinate's feint. During the confrontation, he pressed a button on his weapon, sending a needle flying straight towards his eye. Hae-shin swiftly tilted his head to dodge, but it still grazed his cheek. Afterward, the subordinate quickly retreated, maintaining his distance from Hae-shin. He spoke up. "You're that 12th grade student who luckily wasn't poisoned to death by me last time, aren't you? I was just about to look for you, but I didn't expect you to deliver yourself right to my doorstep." He continued, "That needle just now was laced with something, not those childish tricks you encountered in the exam. This time, I used a secret family recipe. Its toxicity can't be compared to those previous things, kid. Just wait to die an untimely death." Hae-shin didn't bother to reply, merely casting a cold, sharp glance at the subordinate. The subordinate immediately felt uneasy, thinking to himself, "What's with that contemptuous look?" Hae-shin ignored the man and lunged straight toward Zibai.
He hadn't even had time to compose himself when he saw the sword blade aimed directly at him. Terrified, Hae-shin glared, his gaze filled with coldness and overwhelming killing intent. Hae-shin thrust decisively. Sister Bai agilely dodged the sword aimed at his head. Hae-shin continued to swing his sword, not letting him escape easily. Hae-shin suddenly sensed danger and immediately looked over. It was poisoned needles from the subordinate. The subordinate scowled, radiating full killing intent as he looked towards Hae-shin. The subordinate yelled, "How dare you look down on me?" In his heart, he was extremely perplexed. With such potent poison, Hae-shin should have succumbed and died by now, but why was he still standing firm? At that very moment, somewhere, a statue shattered. Back to the battle, the subordinate yelled to Sister Bai, "Young Master Zang, flee quickly. I'll use needle screen cover for you." Hearing this, young Master Zang didn't hesitate for a moment and plunged straight through the window glass. Sister Bai escaped, leaving behind a shattered window pane.
The subordinate immediately unleashed the needle veil poison art. He said, "No more time to play with you. Let me show you the true horror of the condensing true realm." The needles from before spewed out strange green smoke. Heiken quickly covered his nose, coughing a few times. The toxicity of the smoke was even more potent than the poisonous needles from before. Heiken was horrified to realize gruesome green blood streaks began to appear on his body. His body stiffened, and he collapsed onto the floor with wide-open eyes. The subordinate gloated, bursting out laughing upon seeing him like that. He said smugly, "I thought you were truly a ninja all poisons, but in the end you still couldn't withstand my killing move." Another statue shattered. Heiken suddenly opened his eyes wide, his eyes glowing with a demonic red light.
He immediately gripped the sword beside him. Heiqin, like a gust of wind, sprang up and delivered a sharp slash directly at the opponent's body. The clay figures on the table shattered, making Dragonlord exclaim, "Ever since I started using earthen figures to take the blows, I no longer have to deal with blood and gore all day." Dragonlord looked at her pile of clay figures with a hint of surprise. 2 of them exploded right at the start. It seems I've encountered a tough opponent this time. She immediately waved her hand, creating a boundary circle among the clay figures. Meanwhile, Heiqin slashed fiercely at the opponent's body with his sword. He was slain by him, not without astonishment. I am at the condensing true realm, yet I lost to someone who was only at the spirit guiding realm. Immediately after, his body collapsed, forming a large pool of blood. Heiqin approached to check his pulse sign. His pulse had stopped. He sat down opposite his corpse and couldn't help but whisper, "Quick, strip him. If we can't use his stuff, we can at least sell it for money." Jibai ran all the way to the main road before stopping, standing by the roadside, panting heavily. He was still unafraid. On the contrary, he exclaimed angrily, "I forgot my phone. Later I'll stop a car, borrow a phone, and call for reinforcements." Immediately after, his face filled with anger, and he gnashed his teeth, muttering curses. "That new transfer student dares to seek revenge. Dares to seek revenge on my Zang family? Once I summon my family's assassins, I won't just kill you, I'll wipe out your entire family." Just as he finished speaking, Heiqin suddenly appeared beside him, raising his sword high, terrifying him. "And who do you want to kill?" The sword in his hand slashed fiercely down towards Jibai. He quickly used the stone-forging steel technique to harden his body and block Heiqin's attack. Jibai seized the opportunity to quickly retreat backward, creating distance between himself and him. Immediately after, a red orb suddenly appeared, terrifying him.
The sphere immediately exploded, shaking the entire mountain range. Zibai was flung far back by the explosion, plummeting down the mountainside. His body slammed heavily into the ground below, creating a loud thud. Heiqin gave him no chance to prepare. He immediately swung his sword and charged straight towards Bai. Terrified by his audacity, he hastily shouted, "Wait, I am the 3rd young master of the Zang family. You cannot—" Before his words were even finished, his sword had already slashed across. Heiqin slashed powerfully at his neck, sending his head flying.
He toyed with 2 red orbs in his hands, couldn't help but exclaim, "If the Dragonlord hadn't borne all the damage for me, I would have been killed by you several times over. What's there to say when death is imminent? It's just a trick to scare people in this world anyway." He used flames to incinerate Shibai's entire corpse. Watching the blazing fire in front of him, Heiqin couldn't help but murmur, "Even though I've burned the body to destroy evidence today, the Zang family will definitely link my death and Zhang Jibai's death together, whether there's evidence or not. And what's more, I'm using the Zang family's exclusive palm technique. In the future, it will be hard to avoid continuing to confront them." But immediately after, he looked at the item in his hand with a hint of excitement and exclaimed, "However, the revenge wasn't in vain. Although I had to leave in a hurry, I still managed to conveniently steal a few valuable items. Just the core condensing pills alone, there are 3 of them. It's funny how his older brother had to offer sacrifices to the Dragonlord just to get one. It seems the relationships among the descendants of the great sects are truly complicated. There's also a good amount of gold, silver, jewels, talismans, and various crafted weapons. I'll sell all these things later." Just then, a system notification suddenly sounded. "Keyword sell detected. You might like trading system." Heiqin was somewhat interested in the system before him and couldn't help but observe it more closely. Ever since he learned the cultivation technique concealment art, these system-like interface frames kept appearing one after another. It must be that rotten dragon's doing. Now it's truly ridiculous, just like those e-commerce platforms, even displaying a "you might like" section. Immediately after, his face gradually stiffened, with a hint of worry. "Later, when I get home, I must immediately clear my search history."
Heiqin couldn't help but be intrigued, continuously spinning the magic circle that appeared in the air. Immediately, he selected the sell option on it. A notification panel immediately appeared when he sold the items: King Nam Dung, horizontal saber, poisoned golden lotus flower, gold ingots, and other waste products were all sold. Your personal account has received 1,054,178 yuan. Heiqin looked at the spinning board before his eyes, his body trembling slightly. A notification appeared on it. Heaven Opening Saber, 1 million yuan. Chin found this notification a bit hard to believe. He had only sold a total of 1.05 million yuan, yet this top-grade saber cost a full 1 million. I remember magic artifacts of the same grade outside are much cheaper than this.
His hand continued to spin the turntable while grumbling, "It's not that it's too expensive to buy, but rather it's not worth the money. Let's just look at something else then." The turntable stopped and a notification appeared. Storage magic tool, 50,000 yuan. It was a pair of durable, tear-resistant pants with 2 side pockets that were storage pouches capable of holding many items. Chen read the information panel and quietly exclaimed, "This is quite practical." A moment later, notifications continuously popped up. Spent 1 million yuan. Remaining balance, 954,718 yuan. Items include high-grade blood cost, the more blood lost, the stronger the attack. Swift eye, beautiful pupil, increases eyesight by 95%, helping you easily see objects moving at high speeds. Strike-resistant t-shirt, this shirt might be tougher than your skin, no worries about tearing during a fight. Ground-clinging rope, the shoe soles have extremely strong adhesion. When urged with magic power, they can stick to object surfaces. Adhesion effectiveness depends on your cultivation. Hearing the next notification made Chin's eyes well up with tears. Spent 950,000 yuan. Remaining balance, 4,718 yuan. At this moment, the Dragon Lord suddenly smirked. Standing on the cliff, she scornfully rebuked, "Do you think I can't kill you, you brat? How dare you cast a blood curse on me?" At this moment, a soft voice beside her surprised her. "Esteemed Dragon Lord." The black cat standing beside the Dragon Lord spoke up to explain, "We've found a clue to breaking that human's blood curse." The two stood on the altar, urgently activating the magic artifact. The cat carefully explained while channeling magic power, "I've investigated, and this kid's bloodline isn't special at all. His ancestors could only cast blood curses on low-level demonic beasts. Those demonic beasts fundamentally couldn't withstand the damage transmitted from the caster, so his ancestors several generations ago all died young in low-level battles. That's why for generations no sect has valued his lineage, and he has no reputation whatsoever in the mortal realm." The Dragon Lord was a bit puzzled upon hearing this. "Then what gives him the right to cast a blood curse on me? I am an immortal. I am the Dragon Lord."
The cat seriously explained, "Perhaps because when you descended to the mortal realm, the immortal emperor's restriction forced your cultivation realm down too low. In addition, at that time, that kid unleashed an extremely powerful will to survive, which also pushed the limits of the blood curse exceptionally high." The magic circle on the altar appeared, as the cat's explanation continued to echo. However, his blood curse was still limited by his own cultivation realm, with the lowest cultivation being the spirit guiding realm. The amount of blood he could extract from your total blood volume only accounted for a very small fraction. When this amount of blood ran out, he would still have to die. The cat glared at the altar below, then chuckled softly. "It's almost time, Dragon Lord. Please step into the center of the magic circle."
Dragon Lord calmly stepped into the completed magic formation. A connecting thread appeared, causing her immense pain. That thread directly connected to Chen's modern residence, leading straight to his apartment. Inside the room, Chen was sleeping defensively. The thread quickly entered his body. Dragon Lord suddenly appeared before him, angrily exclaiming, "This blood curse has now been clearly materialized." Then she channeled power into her hand, intending to quickly tear this thread apart. Just then, a knock sounded from outside the door. Dragon Lord angrily stopped her hand and softly asked, "Who is it?" The shadow standing outside quickly spoke up, "Esteemed Dragon Lord, this humble servant is a messenger. Esteemed Immortal General has an invitation." The cat beside her felt utterly confused, wondering why a messenger was sent in person instead of using a communication talisman. She also softly sighed. The one who came surely has no good intentions. A noble, glittering throne stood before Dragon Lord. She slowly approached it. The throne was empty, shimmering with golden light. Suddenly, a voice rang out. "Do you wish to sit in that position?" From behind the curtain, a person resembling an official from the Yonglong court emerged. He said, "The immortal emperor hasn't appeared for many years. It wouldn't hurt to let you try sitting there." Dragon Lord replied, "You Xiandu, everyone knows you are the one who most desires to sit in that position. Why play tricks on me? Stop talking nonsense. What do you want with me?" He said, "You are still as impatient as ever. I sought you out to inform your application for promotion to High Immortal has not yet been approved." Dragon Lord gritted her teeth and asked, "Why, when I previously gave up my territory and subordinates and agreed to the conditions to join Immortal Palace, wasn't it promised that I would be promoted to High Immortal after exactly 100 years? That Tiendu sneered and said, "Oh dear, times have changed. Now there are many minor immortals requesting to become High Immortals. If we approve you based solely on a promise from 100 years ago, the other immortals won't be convinced. I advise you to accumulate more merit, improve your cultivation, and perhaps apply next time." Before she could finish speaking, she quickly disappeared. Seeing this, Dragon Lord said, "Oh, how hasty." She ran off before I could even finish speaking. Mao was sitting leisurely on the rooftop when he suddenly saw a bright star streak towards him. Mao said, "Already back?" That bright star was none other than Dragon Lord, who was rushing at maximum speed. She gritted her teeth in anger. Mao cried out in alarm, "Oh no, Dragon Lord, my lady is angry again." Mao jumped onto a rock, looked down and said, "Dragon Lord, my lady, are you all right?" Dragon Lord on a nearby rock replied, "I'm fine, I'm perfectly well. It's just a little anger that I'm keeping in check. Hey Mao said, a mountain has been shattered to pieces, and you call this keeping in check? She lay there, thinking to herself, the free-range period is over. It's time to increase the intensity for that mule.
A towering rock mountain stood amidst the night sky. Suddenly, a stream of red light emanated, and leaves rustled. Dust and leaves flew everywhere, forming a powerful whirlwind. When the whirlwind dissipated, the figure of a man appeared. He had provisionally advanced to the condensing true realm. He-Kin stood proudly, a source of red light emanating from around him. His body strength greatly increased, mana limit greatly increased, health point limit greatly increased, divine sense surged, comprehension ability greatly enhanced, and he had unlocked cultivation techniques, magic artifacts, and limited supplies of the condensing true realm. The system requested, please complete the essential supplementary conditions for condensing true realm: core condensing pill, 1 of 1, high-grade foundation strengthening pill, 10 of 10, high-grade spirit herb extract, 3 of 3, spirit guiding realm, 10 of 10 levels. After reading, He-Ken replied, oh, is that so? Is it done? Then he waved his hand, relaxed, and happily said, much easier than I thought. The quest, carry the hemorrhage curse through the secret void pass within the time limit, has been completed. After the quest ends, the system will deduct 30% cultivation and 30% merit as interest. If the provisional condensing true realm advancement exceeds the time limit, compound interest will be applied. He replied in surprise, damn, look at my big mouth, but it doesn't say where the demon cave is. Suddenly, a magic circle appeared beneath his feet. He-Ken said in surprise, huh? Wait, I don't even get a little time to prepare? Countdown, 19 minutes 59 seconds. Quickly, the ground vanished, and he fell freely through the air. He-Ken exclaimed in shock, holy crap, this is exciting. Then he realized he was falling straight down onto a cluster of gigantic, sturdy, sharp spikes below.
He cast a spell, pushing off the nearby wall with his foot. His lithe body clung to the wall, avoiding being impaled by the sharp thorns. He glanced down and exclaimed, that was dangerous. I almost lost my butt. Even though my HP bar is quite thick, getting injured will still hurt, and I don't know when hemorrhage will come. If it's not necessary, it's better to avoid getting injured. Suddenly, a giant sharp thorn shot towards him. He-Chen quickly dodged to the side, avoiding the fate of being impaled. As he landed, a rock quickly shot towards him. He-Chen powerfully swung his hand, slicing the rock in half. Then he said, my speed, strength, and reactions have all become much stronger. This saber, though not a supreme artifact that cuts iron like mud, can still slice through a crude stone arm thicker than a waist after activating its magic power. These are all benefits of enhancing basic cultivation. Suddenly, several strange lights appeared behind him. Quickly, countless sharp spikes extended towards his feet. Thanks to his flexible and agile body, he escaped the danger. Suddenly, above He-Chen's head, a gigantic stone hand appeared and descended. Caught between two waves of attacks from front and back, he wondered, attacking both front and back? Seeing this, he clenched his fist. Then light and red lightning emanated from his hand. He-Chen shouted loudly, Black Underworld Fist, Heart Thunder. Instantly, the mountain shattered. Fragments of rock flew everywhere, shaking the entire sky. When the countdown showed only 17 minutes and 36 seconds, he shot out from the rubble like lightning. Suddenly, from the pile of rocks, countless sword-wielding stone figures emerged. He looked at them and said, I'm in a hurry. I don't have time to play with you all. Suddenly, he was attacked, blood splattering everywhere. He realized and shouted, Ice Blood. In front of him now was a ferocious giant stone figure. The giant stone figure attacked him without hesitation. The small stone figures and the giant stone figure attacked him together. He-Chen shouted, Prescient Technique Rod Separating Stone. Then he used a nearby rock as a fulcrum, and then used the sword in his hand to strike the giant stone figure. He-Chen fiercely struck the stone figure, shouting, Die! The stone figure disintegrated into small pieces. A stone person was slammed into the wall, causing a great tremor. Suddenly, a giant stone hand appeared, spread out as if preparing to slap something. At the same time, Miss Tian slapped Xiao Xiao hard across the face, making him scream, Wake up! Xiao Xiao was slapped so hard he spat blood, looking dazed. Xiao Xiao was tied up in front of the door of a strange place. At his feet, a red circle was drawn with mysterious patterns. He yelled, Director, I only drank 1 can of cola, so why did I wake up and find myself here? The other person said, How come I ate the core condensing pill but still couldn't break through cultivation? That dragon no longer responds to my requests during my sacrifices. In that case, I can only request a core condensing pill from another god. Xiao Xiao said, Sacrifices? Are you perhaps planning to sacrifice me? I earn 3,000 yuan, work like a dog, and now I have to sacrifice my life too? This wasn't mentioned when I signed the contract with the company, was it? Miss Tian took out the contract and said, Our company has nothing to do with you. Look closely. The party that signed the contract with you is a labor supply company. Xiao Xiao's eyes widened as he looked at the contract, stammering, How could this be?
Tian held a knife to the girl's throat and said cruelly, All right, time's up for the nonsense. We have to go. In your next life, remember to be wiser. The girl trembled and cried, saying, Don't kill me. I don't want to die. Don't kill me. Suddenly, a loud explosion occurred, sending rocks flying everywhere. He-Chen appeared after the smoke cleared.
He flipped his middle finger at Tian and said with a laugh, "I'm not the kind of boss who loves his employees like your child, am I? I've already cultivated you." Tian said in a panic, "It's you! How did you get here? Did you deal with all the traps out there?" He-Chin replied, "Aren't you surprised to see me alive? That's right, someone must have told you that I'm very hard to kill, like your dead younger brother." Hearing this, he said in fear, "You killed my brother? So you need his core condensing pill." With that, he charged forward, sword in hand, intending to strike him. He yelled loudly, "Hand it over to me!" He-Chin blocked the sword, then said, "Look, you didn't even ask how your brother died. Are all the descendants in your sect so cold-hearted?" He laughed and said, "Before, I helped him kill you only because his honor was also tied to mine. But now that he's dead, as his older brother, I should inherit his assets." He charged forward. He-Chin quickly charged forward as well, using his hand to cast a spell that Tian couldn't block. After that, He-Chin shattered one of his arms. Zhao Sha was tied up but still watched the fight intently. Tian, having lost an arm, fell to the ground. His arm bled incessantly, forming a large pool of blood. Suddenly, a stream of dark purple light shot out from the wound. He-Chin screamed in panic, "It's evil energy!" Countdown, 9 minutes 20 seconds. He-Chin severed the chains for Zhao Xiao. She said, "It's you! There's been no news of you since you quit your job. I didn't expect you to be so strong now." He replied, "No time to explain. I'll have Puppet take you out of here first." Then a giant stone hand grabbed her. A torrent of strange black energy poured out, and a pair of eyes suddenly appeared. Next, a blazing red sword emerged from the black energy. Long On and the sword stepped out together from that black energy. Seeing this, He-Chin used divine sense to observe. He saw Long On emitting a strange light. Suddenly, his eyes felt as if they were attacked, and blood flowed profusely. He thought, "Initially, I intended to use divine sense to check her cultivation, but unexpectedly, I was counterattacked. The strange thing that Zhao Sha was sacrificed to earlier had been swallowed beneath the rocks." He-Chin said, "Zhang Jitian inadvertently sacrificed himself, and the Zhao family's existence is thanks to this." Long On didn't care, directly charging at He-Chin with his sword, blocking her sword. The immense power caused the rocks beneath his feet to shatter. Long On's sword had wounded his shoulder. Then she swung her leg and kicked him in the face, but fortunately he used his hand to block it. But he was also pushed back, slamming into the rock wall, creating a large explosion. He-Chin moved with difficulty after the recent shock. Long On took a stance, preparing to attack again. Observing this, He-Chin thought to herself, "When her powerful slash came, I counterattacked by using a stone puppet for support." Suddenly, swiftly and decisively, Long On charged and slashed across her neck. Small empty barrels continuously shattered into pieces. Dragonlord whispered, "Destroying all the substitute puppets at once? This—" Her gaze sternly looked down. Is she about to die? He-Chin's expression was a little displeased. Why did no one see that sword strike come down? It hit. Her body lay face down on the ground, along with a pool of fresh red blood. Golden circles appeared on Long On's 2 fingers. Suddenly, he held a sword in his hand, preparing to swing it down at He-Chin. What Long On aimed for was her neck. Long On's blade swung down, touching He-Chin's knife. A powerful pinkish-purple glow illuminated the sky. He-Chin took out a knife from her back to block. "You dare to slash me again?" Her 2 fingers began to gesture forward. Suddenly, a stone palm emerged from beneath the ground behind Baiyu. Her nimble feet somersaulted, escaping her previous position. Easily defeating the stone hand, Long An gently landed. Her eyes quickly darted to the other side. He-Chin charged forward, swinging his blade to clash with Baiyu's sword. A notification appeared. "He-Chin, blood cost is active. Damage plus 99%. He laughed and said, "Now we can truly duel." That move just hit us instantly. It attacked before the skill was fully cast, leaving me completely unable to defend. A fierce battle unfolded amidst the swirling smoke everywhere between He-Chin and Baiyu.
His arm quickly threw out a blazing red orb. Long On deftly used her blade to parry the orb. Suddenly, the blazing red orb exploded with immense potent force, causing Long On to lose her balance, drop her grip on the sword and stumble backward. Her eyes narrowed. "It's coming again." He-Chin loudly declared, "I was just waiting to use this move again." A surge of pink power enveloped his palm. His cultivation technique had been prepared in advance. Between He-Chin and Long On, both were summoning their powers. Heavenly Law Annihilation. The translucent pink sword was swung out powerfully. Beside it, the golden sword was also very powerful. Both swords began to clash chaotically, causing smoke to rise from the cracked earth. Long On suddenly froze, along with her sword. Blood unexpectedly gushed continuously from her chest. He-Chin's expression remained stern as he looked at Long On. She gritted her teeth. "Why? I had already prepared my attack on you. It should have hit for sure, yet you're completely unharmed." He-Chin calmly replied, "Look at you. You're so flustered you're talking like a normal person now. I thought you were mute. Of course you can prepare your attack on me, but I can also prepare my own move. Regarding your defense, initially I intended to directly prepare my defense against your attack, but it didn't work. It seems that's a technique only usable by those with very high cultivation. So I figured since you couldn't defeat me last time, and you used a move to slash at my neck, this time when we fight again you'd surely want to sever my head. That's why I prepared my defense for my neck in advance." A crack appeared on Long On's chest, and she was also struck by a sneak attack once more.
She suddenly stood up, glaring angrily. "You!" Long On suddenly froze as a beam of light appeared before her eyes. A massive magic formation was forming right above Long On's head. Hei-Chin looked up, muttering, "Is this the punishment for using the pre-prepared heavenly law cultivation technique?" Bai Yu and he simultaneously summoned beams of light around their fingers. Long On placed her finger on her temple. "Why? I can't close it." From beneath the ground, stone arms emerged, clinging to Long On. She struggled, shouting, "Do you think this can stop me from completing the cultivation technique?" Hei-Chin replied with focus, "I don't need to stop you from completing it, just to waste your time." She easily destroyed the stone arm, shouting, "Waste what?" The magic formation had now moved directly above Long On's head. A yellow circle, layered one after another, exploded everything. The ground began to shake with that powerful breakthrough force. A notification panel appeared. Condensing True Realm has completed its advance, deducting the required portion of cultivation, and merit points obtained. Cultivation has increased to Condensing True Realm 3rd layer, unlocking resources that can be advanced in the system. In front of Hei-Chin, thick smoke billowed, and rocks flew in all directions. Long On tried to grasp a piece of rock. Hei-Chin stood before her and said, "Still has a breath left." She closed her eyes. "I've lost. Do as you please. Kill or cut."
She drew the knife. She was not like the others. Before dying, they all begged for their lives, but she was very calm. Suddenly, Hei-Chin didn't hesitate and swung the knife down powerfully. Long On closed her eyes, then opened them again. She was surprised. "Huh? The injury has completely healed." Hei-Chin continued, "From now on, you will all be of one blood, ascending together." System notification. Blood curse has been engraved upon Long On. From now on, all damage Long On receives in combat will be borne by Dragon Lord.
At this moment, a bathtub was steaming profusely in the small bathroom. Hei Mao was sleeping soundly beside it. The water surface showed signs of bubbling vigorously, with bubbles floating around. Dragon Lord rose from the tub. Hei Mao was startled. "I'll fight, fight, fight! What happened?" Dragon Lord gently said, "I feel another blood demon has attached itself to me again." System notification. Pre-expenditure cultivation method has increased. Now you can pre-expend magic artifacts and elixirs. However, the level of pre-expended resources must not exceed your current great cultivation realm. Early in the morning, at a rather quiet building, Ba Man was in the form of an ordinary human. Hei-Kin's expression showed a hint of surprise upon seeing her. Ba Ran excitedly said, "Beautiful girl, even the heart of one as cold as water has been stirred. Who is this person?" Ma Xiao interrupted, "Old Toe, are you even in love with your sister-in-law?" These words of his surprised Ba Ran a little. He trembled. I've offended you. Big brother, please understand me. In my heart there is only Miss Tachibana. How could there be room for other women?" Hei-Kin asked, "Excuse me, do we know each other?" Long On replied, "We just had a fight a few days ago and you've already forgotten. Aren't we grasshoppers on the same health bar?" He pointed. "Ah, is that you? You changed your appearance so much I almost didn't recognize you. But how did you manage to complete the enrollment procedures and squeeze into our class?" She casually said, "New tricks always work. 2 days ago in old Dao's room. I've been so lucky lately, I just recruited another transfer student." He pulled out a drawer from the study cabinet, revealing a small amount of gold. At this moment, old Dao cleared his throat, covering his mouth.
Students, the mini-tests are basically over, and the first mock exam will begin today. For most students here, this will be your first time experiencing real combat. You've studied diligently for decades. Now is the time to show the true results of your cultivation. Everyone in the exam room, focus up. Class 1, Grade 3, focus up. Class 2, start roll call. Class 3, everyone focus up. Class 4, Long On spoke. An exam? Interesting, huh? Mao Xiao continued. Brother, the entire Grade 3 is arrived this time. It seems I'll embarrass you in front of the whole grade this time. Hei-Kin placed a hand on his shoulder to reassure him. It's all right, Mao Xiao chuckled. Really, big brother? You're truly... He continued, I don't need face. You can just discard it casually. He looked bewildered. Visionary. Old Dao began to speak loudly over the loudspeaker. Now I will read the rules of the exam. Each class has its own examination area, surrounded by a barrier to ensure that candidates participating in the same exam do not interfere with each other. Each contestant must fight a corresponding monster. Those who defeat it within 5 minutes will receive maximum points. If the challenge time ends without defeating it, the score will be calculated based on the actual damage dealt. Should any unexpected situation arise during the exam, Teacher Zhou in the center of the hall will intervene to resolve it. The exam is about to begin. Students who hear their names called will step onto the platform to prepare. Zajie Akan, Grade 3, Class 1. Guofan Lang, Grade 3, Class 1. Tong Long, Grade 3, Class 2. Ryuzaki Hanako, Grade 3, Class 4. Prepare to step onto the platform. Hei-Chin looked down, wondering, why are there even people from East Ocean? Mao Xiao replied, this is the mission of the Department of Cultivation Education. As part of the peace treaty between the top-tier sects, almost every cultivation high school accepts a few exchange students from East Ocean.
He was surprised. Oh, I thought only regular high schools had exchange students. I didn't expect Immortal Cultivation High School to have this kind of thing too.
Suddenly, Hanukkah froze, standing still without moving, her sharp gaze turning back to look upwards. Hei-chin looked down, thinking to himself, her intuition is quite sharp. Long-on angrily said, "How dare you glare at my master, my Chin, your brother? Only I, your big sister, am allowed to glare." Mao Shao continued, "Brother, your relationship." Old Dao began to speak. "The exam begins. Now, let's summon the test questions." In the center, a dark purplish-black abyss appeared. An orange pupil hidden within the abyss gradually revealed itself. A demon appeared, human-shaped and wearing a mushroom hat. The physical education teacher next to Old Dao exclaimed in surprise, "This kind of aura." Old Dao said, "Isn't this the cloud canopy demon lord that was suppressed by the great sects before? To use something of this caliber for an exam is a bit too much." He interrupted himself. "Look at you, always so impatient. No wonder you're still just a physical education teacher. If its true form were here, even if suppressed, everyone present would die. But the exam questions are cultivated from the spores on the demon lord's body. Although it's also in the condensing true realm, its actual strength is still lower than the Invigilator's. Furthermore, there are suppression stones around this area, so you can rest assured." Liu Wan's arms crossed, unleashing an attack. The demon soldier quickly jumped away as he attacked. Liu Wan sat down, sobbing. Before the end of the test, he had not dealt any damage to the exam question, receiving 0 points. Next, another student tried to defeat the demon soldier, but he was easily knocked down by the demon soldier with just one punch. The student was sent flying, and the actual damage met the standard. However, the contestant left the examination floor without permission, so he was deemed to have failed.
Zhang Shuai-wen scored 61 points. Wu Lu-wen failed. Qian Zhonglong scored 68 points. Mao Shao exclaimed loudly, "What is this? Is this year's mock exam so difficult? So far, no one has scored above 70 points, and very few have met the requirements. Which perverted teacher came up with these questions? I'll go give him a gift later."
That's wonderful. If everyone loses face together, then I won't consider it losing face anymore. Suddenly his gaze stopped, looking downwards. "Huh?" the physical education teacher exclaimed agitatedly. "That's too much, Old Dao. Making the first mock exam this difficult will make students lose confidence." He cleared his throat. If they can't even pass a difficult mock test like this, then this is the worst class I've ever taught." Old Dao suddenly stopped talking, his gaze fixed downwards. "Huh?" Hanukkah was running at an incredibly fast speed, with a demon soldier chasing behind her. He was surprised. This student's speed is astonishing, but she's breaking out of the barrier. Is she trying to forfeit the exam directly? Hanukkah's feet gained momentum, and she charged forward powerfully. Before her was a tall, yellow barrier. Hanukkah's body gracefully soared over the barrier. At this moment, the demon soldier was also raising its powerful fist. Her fingers lifted the hilt of her sword, countering the attack. The demon soldier was easily defeated with just one of Hanukkah's techniques. The physical education teacher was astonished. A direct knockout. At this moment, the arena was in an uproar. Ryuzaki Hanako, a perfect score. Excellent. She struggled with previous exams, but this time she directly achieved a perfect score.
Where did a monster this size come from? An exchange student from East Ocean, the top student of Class 4, Kaku, stood above, intently observing the matches. He smiled. "That's just the beginning. I've even given you a bonus question. Do your best." The loudspeakers above began to announce. "Next up, Lai Junhao, Class 12-1. Mao Shao exclaimed, "Oh my god, this Lai Junhao is the top student of Class 1. He can definitely get a perfect score too." "Huh? Brother, what are you signaling?" Hei-ken wondered. "He can't see my system's spinning wheel." "Nothing. I'm just swatting mosquitoes." "No matter who the top student is, I only care about what good magic artifact I can get as an advance." The girls above were incredibly excited. Young Master Lai, you can do it. Young Master Lai is so cool." Junhao was very confident. "Young Master Lai is #1 forever. Isn't it just a comparative test? I will prove that even among the best of the best, there's a difference." Black smoke began to emerge from the floor. A mushroom-headed demon soldier materialized right before their eyes.
Elder Dao looked down in surprise. "Huh? Who set this problem?" Junhao said confidently, "This looks interesting. Do you think I can't be defeated just by changing the test format?" Finishing a sentence, he gritted his teeth, swung his fist, and unleashed the engraved Dharma Fist. A powerful blow from Junhao landed on the demon soldier's abdomen. The ground in the center shook with hazy smoke. Mao Shao exclaimed in shock, "My goodness, is this the power a high school senior can generate?" Elder Dao explained, "Engraving magic symbols onto the arm can increase the destructive power of the punch. This child has a very high chance of being directly admitted to Qingbei, but why isn't he a student from my class?" At the same time, cracks appeared on the ground, extending towards the city gate. Junhao declared loudly, "This punch is my definitive statement. I have proven that even among the best of the best, there are distinctions." Suddenly, his expression darkened, and he looked forward in surprise. Both Elder Dao and the physical education teacher were also extremely surprised. The giant demon soldier was still standing in front of Junhao, saying, "How is it still standing? That's strange. Perhaps my hip rotation and shoulder movement weren't quite right, so the force wasn't enough. In that case, I'll throw another punch. The physical education teacher suddenly shouted loudly, "Hurry, get out of there!" Junhao gritted his teeth and unleashed his powerful punch, but the demon soldier was a step faster, punching him in the abdomen. Junhao's body flew far away through the air. A massive explosion erupted with hazy smoke everywhere. The homeroom teacher tried to catch Junhao amidst hazy smoke. Suddenly, he continuously coughed up blood.
The PE teacher gritted his teeth. "I've tried to reduce the force as much as possible, but I still sustained an internal injury. This test question is a bit too much." "Hello, Ministry of Education, an out-of-syllabus question has appeared in the exam room. Quickly send teachers to assist." The other person replied, "May I ask, what is the current difficulty level of the question?" He hastily said, "Send the most highly qualified teachers here." From a distance, a demon soldier ran quickly towards the two of them. Suddenly, the demon soldier's ankle was pulled back by a golden rope. The Invigilator shouted, "Demonic fiend, do you take me, the Invigilator, for non-existent?" Suddenly, a purple pupil appeared on the demon soldier's mushroom hat. Simultaneously, something grew out of the demon soldier's skin on its back. The sharp spikes on its back fell off one by one. The rope that the Invigilator had tied tightly showed signs of being stretched taut. Something was crawling beneath the ground under his feet. A powerful beam of light appeared before his eyes. This is bad. In just a few seconds, everything exploded, painting the sky fiery red. Above the demon soldier's head was a fireball. Black spots on its mushroom hat began to fly out continuously. Old Dao witnessed the explosion before his eyes. The demon soldier quickly escaped from the smoke. On the arena, several fireballs appeared and attacked the demon soldier. Hanako stood still as a statue, observing everything from above. At this moment, she was in a sword-drawing stance, ready to fight. Kaku stopped her, asking, "What do you want to do?" Hanako replied, "Go down and help everyone." He cleared his throat. "Are you stupid? This supplementary question is meant to pave the way for you. We just need to let the questions in the program accidentally eliminate the top students in the block. That way, the guaranteed spot at Qingbei Immortal Cultivation University will be yours." Hanako continued. "Hanako doesn't need to use these despicable tricks to secure a guaranteed spot. Hanako will go tear up that filthy exam paper right now." Suddenly, her body froze and her expression turned ugly. Dark energy began to appear all over Hanako's body. Soul-binding charm. Luckily, the dog leash was still in my hand. Otherwise, the plan meticulously prepared by my father would be wasted. She completely failed to inherit the cruel, cold-blooded advantages of the Long Qi family. In her very bones, she still retained the fatal flaw inherent in her bloodline: kindness and straightforwardness. "Father, why did you waste resources on her?" At the same time, the adjacent building also exploded. Old Dao moved nimbly, avoiding the immediate danger. This demonic fiend must have reached at least the 5th level of condensing true realm or higher. Who exactly set this test? Old Dao's entire body was enveloped by a sphere. That was the body-protecting adamant shield. Outside, the demon soldier was still moving nimbly. Old Dao was astonished. The movement speed was too fast. His eyes couldn't keep up. He could only create an omnidirectional defensive shield. Suddenly, the demon soldier closed in and swung an attack. Everything before his eyes suddenly exploded with immense power. The demon soldier's arm squeezed Old Dao's neck tightly. "It's over!" The demon soldier was trying to exert all its strength into its arm. Old Dao's eyes rolled back in pain, unable to resist. In that instant, a pink line appeared. Hei Qin easily used a knife to cut off the demon soldier's arm. 5 minutes earlier, Hei Qin was still standing above, observing. Mao Sha was terrified, repeatedly chanting, "Monster, monster, monster." Hei Qin thought to herself, scared by the demonic qi. That's right, if one hasn't reached condensing true realm, it's very easy to be intimidated by the demonic qi of this demonic fiend, and this monster's cultivation.
Long On interrupted. "Condensing true realm 7th layer. You continue. Your eye power is very sharp." She suddenly became excited. "No, it's my body sensing a powerful opponent that's causing this fluctuation. It's telling me what level the opponent is." Hei Qin's finger lightly touched the air barrier. He continued, "A barrier has been set up outside, so it won't be easy for others to escape. This is clearly meant to wipe out all the contestants. Currently, I'm at Condensing True Realm 3rd layer, and with my super long health bar, my actual combat power can approach the 7th layer, if I had another powerful weapon. Among the newly unlocked weapons, only this one was a top-tier item, but it only supported preemption, and this attribute was actually not bad. A black sword with patterns on its blade. The weapon had been preempted, named Cloud Void Guidance." Hei Qin was concentrating on summoning red vital energy around his body. He continued, "I'll go down in a bit, and you stay up here to guard against any unforeseen circumstances. I always have a feeling this side quest might have another subquest." Long On nodded. "All right, but can't these teachers handle this test?" He replied, "It seems you have an instinctive reaction to powerful individuals, but not much feeling for those who aren't too strong. Those teachers are all at Condensing True Realm 1st layer. Only the class head, Old Dao, is at Condensing True Realm 5th layer. If old Dao had prepared thoroughly and set up formations in advance, he might barely be able to cope, but in this kind of unexpected encounter, he's at a great disadvantage. The sword emanated gloomy dark energy, which was precisely my specialty. The system announced, refinement complete, Cloud Void Guidance has acquired the blood cost attribute. Old Dao trembled in pain as the demon soldier continued to choke him. Hei Qin appeared in time and severed the demon soldier's arm. Old Dao's eyes widened in surprise, the transfer student.
Hei Qin continued, outside the city wall there is a barrier which has blocked the student's escape route. Please, teachers, think of a way to break it, and leave this secondary task to me. He continued, replying to the person opposite him. What kind of person do you take me for? As a teacher, in such a dangerous moment, I must be resolute. With that, old Dao's feet were gathering momentum. He stood at a distance, speaking mildly, shielding the students behind him. The entire body of the demon soldier was seething at this moment, and the severed arm showed signs of reattaching.
Hei Qin said, "What fast recovery! In the blink of an eye, it's perfect as before. This is the characteristic of a mushroom demon, possessing almost the fastest recovery speed." The demon soldier gnashed his teeth and began to charge at him. Hei Qin's body recoiled, his fist already clenched. The demon soldier's fist attacked with immense power. He quickly used his blade to block, realizing that demonic chi was by the force. Suddenly, in a flash, the demon soldier closed in on him, moving even faster. The demon soldier stood firm, gathering momentum in his muscular arm, and without hesitation, powerfully punched the city wall. At this moment, everything at the base of the wall was in utter chaos. The PE teacher fearfully asked, "Old Dao, is that transfer student dead or not?" He calmly replied, "If not, then you go down there and save him. You've always been one to hide far away, so I suppose the family of the top student in Class 1 must have asked for your help, right? Otherwise, you fundamentally wouldn't go down to save him." The PE teacher's expression was a bit awkward. Old Dao continued, "That kid is truly brave, but there's nothing we can do. No one here can solve that. If we can break this barrier before that demonic fiend arrives, we'll already be incredibly lucky." The demon soldier continuously punched the city wall. The PE teacher looked down. How tragic. He must have been beaten to a pulp by now. The demon soldier was now incredibly excited by his own fists. Hei Qin's palms simultaneously blocked the demon soldier's punch. At this moment, both the PE teacher and the demon soldier were surprised. The system announced, Blood King, blood cost activated, damage plus 99%. Hei Qin's muscular arm, it's my turn. The demon soldier seemed to be hit by an extremely powerful attack. With just one mighty blow, he sent the demon soldier flying. Amidst the hazy smoke, the demon soldier was still resisting. Suddenly, a distant beam of light appeared in the sky. Hei Qin's sword grew enormous, piercing through the smoke. The demon soldier's two hands quickly clamped down on the blade. Hei Qin stood firm, summoning power. A black orb appeared at the tip of the dark underworld sword, right before the demon soldier's eyes, suddenly exploding with immense force, engulfing an entire section of the sky. A colossal fissure appeared right in the center where the demon soldier stood. The demon soldier's body began to dissolve like sea foam. The physical education teacher standing above widened their eyes in astonishment. Killed it! Suddenly, Hei Qin froze, staring intently at the scene before him. The demon soldier reappeared in the sky, hovering in midair. A dark surge of vital energy enveloped the demon soldier's entire body. The mushroom hat began to lift from the demon soldier's head, flying upwards. Spikes slowly emerged from the surface of the hat. Hundreds of bullet-shaped projectiles rained down in a relentless attack. Hei Qin remained standing firm, looking up. The entire city was plunged into panic. People scattered in all directions. "Run! There's a barrier outside. Quickly run in a different direction." Hei Qin below slowly cast a spell. Then he slammed his hand onto the ground, summoning the stone head shield puppet formation.
The Ha family fled in terror, running headlong, knowing there was no escaping this situation. Then a rocket flew towards him, exploding with a blinding light that filled the entire space. Finally, a terrifying explosion occurred, shaking the three realms. Gradually, the smoke dispersed, revealing the ruins. The Ha family instinctively shielded his body with his hands. He fearfully glanced at the deep craters that had just been created. The Ha family exclaimed, "Still? Still alive? Who set up this large-scale defensive formation? A formation this large must consume a lot of spiritual power and cultivation. It must surely be from the top academies." The severely damaged land remained. Long On commented, "Master is still not ruthless enough, going to save those classmates. Those with poor performance don't need to be saved, like those students. Every person you save, later when you think about the Immortal Cultivator University, they will all be sharp arrows shot at you." While Hei Qin pondered, his magic power was almost depleted, and it seemed the one in the heavens must have been too. At that very moment, a monster appeared on the city wall. It was massive, eyeless, and even its mouth was sewn shut. The monster flew up, moving in a flash, suddenly appearing right behind him. Hei Qin quickly kicked the sword behind him, then somersaulted high in the air to dodge the stone creature's attack. He landed lightly on the ground, using his hands to brace himself. But things didn't stop there. The stone creature raised its fist from behind, unleashing a terrifying move with radiating spiritual energy.
The sword in Heikin's hand radiated killing intent, along with shadow beings. He swung his attack backward, gathering momentum to slash at the stone creature. Its face was struck, shattering into pieces, fading into the sky. The stone creature jumped back, keeping its distance from him. Its body emitted eerie bubbles. It clutched its head with its hand.
Heikin frowned and thought. After applying the lightning thread technique to his sword, cutting off its head became easier. However, the head could regenerate, proving that its weakness was not in its head but hidden within its body. Suddenly, it used its hand to pull a thread from its mouth. A pair of terrifying purple eyes gradually became visible, filled with ferocity. Then it quickly vanished from the ground. Heikin frowned, listening to the sounds, realizing it had disappeared quickly again. The moment Heikin sensed its presence, he swung his arm to strike. His sword swung out, but the stone creature ducked to dodge it. It quickly retaliated, punching Heikin hard in the stomach. Immediately, he spat out a large mouthful of blood after being hit. The force of the blow was so strong that Heikin was sent flying. He quickly dug his feet into the ground, skidding a long distance. Suddenly, eerie faces appeared all around. Finally, Heikin was surrounded, with no escape route.
He angrily swung his sword wildly in the air. Facing him was the stone man, continuously throwing punches. Heichin refused to dodge, and injuries began to appear on his body. He panicked, ultimately falling into a disadvantageous position. "I thought this transfer student could turn the tide," old Dao said indifferently. He had already said it was impossible. With such a huge gap, how could he win? But for this transfer student to be able to fight against that monster until now, even in such a situation, is already very impressive. His pure strength alone is enough to put him in the top 10. It's just a pity. At that moment, Long On stood still on the observation deck. She thought to herself, "Quickly use that move of mine to defeat him. What are you waiting for, master?" Heikin was pushed back, his body already exhausted. He worried. It's too fast, very difficult to catch, especially the acceleration speed each time before an attack. Even if I risk my life and go all out on defense, I can only block a small portion. The system displayed. Heikin 50%, Bloodlust activated, damage plus 150%. Heikin felt it, and the opportune moment was also approaching. Immediately, he channeled spiritual energy into his sword, causing it to lengthen. He flew up, moving swiftly. Surprisingly, the weapons in Heikin's hands blocked all the moves. He was surprised, only striking a pose but not moving. Is this a surrender of resistance? He sliced through it with heavenly law annihilation. The sword strike was so powerful that it even pierced through the physical education teacher's position. Suddenly, the space erupted with sparkling crystals. Old Dao was indignant. He had spent half a day unable to break the barrier, yet it was destroyed by a mere wave of a hand like this. The teacher didn't even show any intention of intervening, or had they already given up? Heikin reached out and grabbed the stone man's imprint after winning. The system chimed. Receive demonic mushroom elixir of scattered pomegranates. Please complete the heavenly law annihilation ritual. He immediately complied, and the system reported, heavenly law annihilation ritual completed. The physical education teacher was surprised. I didn't even see the final blow. Old Pao, with this strength, is he really only in the top 10 of the grade? It feels like he could contend with that person. He turned his head and called out to the person behind him. Old Dao. The system chimed again as Heikin worked with Long On. You have reached the 9th layer of condensing True Realm. Long On looked at the content on Bilibili. Hot search. Who is Heikin? A talented transfer student from middle school number 6. She reminded him, Master, you're on the hot search. Everyone is saying you're a transfer student with the greatest potential to surprise. There are also confident reports that you will be admitted to a key immortal cultivation university. What are you doing? Long On asked. He wore plain indifferently. Nothing. I'm just paying for health insurance. Heikin tapped the screen. Do you want to bestow 30% of the cultivation and merit gained from this cultivation session to the Dragon Lord? Yes. He analyzed that, in the current battle, healing would no longer be possible, and only by receiving medical insurance could health be increased. Watching the card fly up, he joyfully said, Fortunately, it succeeded. As soon as the card touched the sky, black smoke billowed in, making his eyebrows furrow. Dark rays spread, occupying the sky, covering a vast area around them. Long On asked in confusion, Master, this is... Heikin explained, it's the forbidden zone of Black Abyss. If one is entered, those inside and outside won't be able to see each other. This formation is usually set up when someone wants to kill to silence witnesses. Suddenly, a large number of arrows rained down from the sky. At the same time, he quickly swung a stone shield to defend against them. And then the mark on the spearhead glowed strangely. Immediately, a massive explosion occurred, engulfing the forest. She quickly escaped from the dangerous zone. Long On leapt high, glancing at the black hole. Each drop of dark water gradually evaporated. He also quickly landed on the ground at a distant spot. Heikin spoke up. Carving the explosive formation spell directly onto supreme suffering, even using preemptive infinite magic to draw my disciple in, that's very formidable. Suddenly, a woman swept past him.
Qian Hui unexpectedly turned back and struck He Qin. The spear thrust powerfully, spinning in a circle in the sky, then fell, locking on to the sword. He Qin watched with wide eyes, then concluded, the back of the blade. The sword in his hand was immediately pushed away. She arced high with a leap. After that, Tian Hui gently landed on the ground, widening the distance.
He spoke up. Are all these maneuvers just to steal my weapon? She replied, my father said you are my academic rival, so he told me to kill you. But I don't like doing this, so I'll take your weapon and say you're dead. However, you must leave the country and give up your intention to take the university entrance exam. Otherwise, if you go to any school and rank first, Yingzong will not spare you. At that moment, the imprint on the saber emitted green spiritual energy. The system's notification startled He Qin. The next mission for the Cloud Void Guide weapon had been activated. And then a circular dark barrier appeared beneath his feet. Tian Hui couldn't help but ask in surprise, what is this? Then her body was strongly pulled upwards. Tian Hui quickly jumped onto a tree branch to observe the situation. Suddenly, her eyes widened at the sight before her. The strange scene carried an unfamiliarity. Tian Hui took a running start and leaped onto a traditional-style rooftop. She was bewildered. Where is this place? Why did I suddenly end up here? He Qin walked over to explain. This is the past mirror void, a secret place where people can only see memories of the past but cannot interfere with them. My saber must be connected to her, which is why when she held it, it directly activated the next mission. And this next mission will force us into this past realm void. Tian Hui looked at her empty hands. The saber she had stolen was nowhere to be seen.
He concluded that perhaps the true form of this temporary blade still lay within the secret realm. If its original form was not found, the blade would not return to hand. Suddenly, a song rang out. She was stunned. Why was this song so familiar? Below, a figure carrying a bag was running frantically. Tian Hui ran headlong with all her energy. She pushed the door open and shouted, "Dad, I'm home!" But the scene before her eyes immediately froze Tian Hui. Countless bodies of her loved ones lay scattered. Tian Hui looked at the corpses on the ground and called out, "Sister, brother." And then, the most important woman in her life was stabbed through. Tian Hui's voice was weak. "Mom." Just then, a voice from behind rang out, "So you've returned?" She asked, stunned, "Senior brother, why are you wearing the uniform of the Dwine sect?" Tian Hui furiously screamed, "What are you doing?" The idyllic scene from when Tian Hui was in 5th grade.
Tian Hui was constantly practicing flying from one branch to another. She swung her arm, launching one dart after another. All of them flew straight into the bullseye on the target. 3 blades stuck directly into the same spot. Tian Hui slowly jumped down, glancing at the results. Tian Hui from above praised, "Not bad. Your technique is even better than mine at your age." She looked up and called, "Big sister." Tian Hui remarked, "But you missed one. There's another target behind that big tree." Hearing that, Tian Hui immediately turned and threw a dart. Tian Hui instructed, "Is it coming?" The technique is to throw the second knife to change the direction of the first, not to pierce through. Instantly, the dart pierced through the large ancient tree. She didn't stop, continuing to launch darts. The impact point between the weapon and the tree trunk flashed with large sparks. The bullseye immediately showed cracks and lightning. A moment later, it returned to its normal state, bearing the marks. Tian Hui was curious. "Huh? Can you do that? Forcibly pierce through from behind?" Tian Hui reminded, "You just need to say if it hit or not." Tian Hui helplessly said, "All right, I'll consider you passed." She looked up at the sky and reminded, "It's getting late, let's go home." A moment later, running home, she shouted, "Dad, I'm back." Tian Yu patted Tian Hui's head. "My precious daughter, how was your training today?" She replied, "Everything met the standard. I even hit the target behind the big tree." Suddenly, a loud sound of wood being chopped rang out. Tian Hui admired, "Big brother's saber technique seems to have improved again." Hua yi zhang long qi. Tian Yu was curious. "Dad, are you really going to pass on the family's iron wall saber technique to him?" He replied, "I'm still considering it. Although this young man is not of our bloodline, he has been initiated for 3 years now."
Over the past few years of observation, the boy has been very polite, pure-hearted, and a good child. Long Qi would always respectfully say, "Master, please have some tea. Master, I'm not tired. I can endure any hardship. Master, it's all my fault. Please don't punish my senior brothers and sisters." Tian Yu praised him without reservation. "My good disciple." Back to reality, a blood-stained knife pierced through the wood. His body was assaulted by his own disciple. Tian Yu weakly asked, "Why?" He replied, "Why? Of course, because I was never truly one of you."
I was born a member of Yingzong. I changed my name and identity to hide here for 6 years, only to learn your family's inherited iron wall hand technique. Now that I've learned it, of course, I must exterminate your entire clan." Tian Yu roared.
Even if you manage to ambush me, there are others in this courtyard. You won't get away unscathed." Just then, a blood-soaked hand clutched the door. Tian Yue, her body covered in wounds, cried out, "Father!" Her hand dragged along the wall, leaving a trail of blood. He watched in agony, his body trembling as his daughter fell. "Tian Yue! You beast, how dare you poison my family?" Long Qi calmly said, "Our Ying Zong has always upheld the principle of steal one technique, exterminate one sect. It's just a pity that your little elementary school daughter hasn't finished school yet, and I highly value her talent." At the same time, a voice called out, "Father, I'm home." He turned his head back fiercely. Perfect timing. Tian Yu grabbed Long Qi's clothes and pleaded, "Please, spare my youngest daughter." He replied, "Don't worry, Hua Tianhui's spirit root is exceptional. I plan to erase her memories and adopt her as my daughter. You won't have to wait long. Once she passes her university entrance exams, I will seize her spirit root, so you and your daughter can be reunited." Finally, he collapsed to the ground, taking his last breath without closing his eyes. Long Qi turned back and said, "I've been waiting for you for a long time, junior sister."
I was so bored waiting that I had to kill your whole family to kill time. Just then, the briefcase in Tanhui's hand slipped from her grasp. She drew her sword and screamed, "I must kill you!" Tanhui immediately launched consecutive blade attacks towards him. But on the contrary, Long Qi didn't budge, showing no fear. He calmly remarked, "Your all-directional flying daggers technique, specialized in attacking blind spots, is best mastered by you in this sect. But against someone like me, who has mastered the Iron Wall Saber technique, it's completely useless." And then an arrow inadvertently brushed past his arm. As the arrow caught Long Qi's eye, he gave a faint smile. After that, he grabbed her by the neck, lifted her up, and said, "All you do is useless things." Finally, he furiously slammed Tanhui's head down. Immediately, she fell unconscious to the ground, while he stood over her, looking down. Long Qi said, "Hua Xinzu, from now on, you are my daughter, Long Qi Hanako. I will bring you into the sect, train you thoroughly, and wait until that day comes." Tianhui, having lost all consciousness, knelt and called him esteemed father. Long Qi then lit a torch and tossed it. Finally, the two of them left the place that was now engulfed in flames.
The entire scene of the sect burning to ashes was taken in by Tianhui. She stood rooted to the spot, watching her clan being massacred. Upon realizing the truth, Tianhui screamed with hatred. Long Qi and He Qin watched her fly over, reminding her, interference is not allowed here. Meanwhile, Tianhui frantically swung her sword, but the strike could not touch Long Qi. He turned his head in surprise, glancing around. Young Tianhui asked, "What's wrong, father?" Long Qi replied, "Nothing. I just thought someone was approaching, but it was just the wind." Long Qi said, "Let's go. After we get home, the first thing we need to do is arrange for someone to teach you our Dongyang language." She agreed, "Yes, father." The Tianhui of the present painfully knelt on the ground and cried, "For so many years, I have always mistaken an enemy for my father." The system reminded, the setting has changed. The scene has shifted from the past realm void to an interactive tangible entity scene. Please find the key prop, Cloud Void Guidance.
He sighed and announced, "The setting has changed again. This is the real scene of your house now. Try to find something to take home as a souvenir." Tianhui requested to use her divine sense to investigate. It seemed there was something underneath, but it was buried quite deep. He Qin used magic, saying, "Let me help you dig it up." Suddenly, a giant stone hand emerged from the ground. It slowly opened, revealing a saber and a notebook inside. Tianhui was stunned. "Isn't this your saber?" He replied, "No." He Qin picked up the saber and said, "It's yours." She took it and wondered, "Why?" He Qin explained, "This saber was left by your father, and it is also what will lead you to find your true self. It was originally meant to be yours." He added, "There's also a saber manual here, probably also left by your father." She picked it up and read, "This saber technique specializes in countering the Iron Wall Saber technique." He glanced at her hesitant expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Tianhui explained, "This saber technique is extremely difficult. It would take decades to master the first level, but I can't wait that long anymore. Even if I could wait, Long Qi would soon realize that I'm different from before."
His words startled her. "No need to wait," Tianhui hastily asked. "What do you mean?" Heidi tapped her temple. Tianhui felt techniques and mental cultivation methods continuously pour into her mind. He asked, "Pre-approved for Hua Tianhui to comprehend the world-breaking blade art. System, you will complete the repayment process for the world-breaking blade art yourself. During this process, 30% of the cultivation and merit you receive will be paid to He Qin as interest." She was surprised. "What is this?" He Qin instructed, "This is the system's homepage. You will only see this if you accept my advance. If you do not agree to pay me interest, you can cancel the advance." Immediately, Tianhui knelt down and bowed. "Master, please accept this disciple's bow."
Heiken smiled and said, "Get up quickly, I will accept you as my disciple. You have just acknowledged me as your master, and I don't have anything precious, so I'll give you a set of Dharma robes later. The pre-approved Cloud Void guidance quest is complete. Hanukkah, don't gaze at the sun peeking out from behind the mountains." I looked down at the blood curse on the back of my hand, then recalled a few things. She remembered Heiken's words at that time. "With this blood curse, you and I will share a single health bar as master and disciple. From now on, any damage you suffer will be borne by your master. Remember, this blade has a blood boil effect. The more injured you are, the stronger your attacks will be." Suddenly, a voice rang out. "Hanukkah, what are you spacing out for?" Kukurin next to her added, "Father is talking to you."
The sect master, sitting opposite, said, "Although during the examination, Hanako revealed some flaws in her character, fortunately she knew to turn back and kill those who stood in her way, and even retrieved the treasured saber for me. Truly my daughter. My efforts in nurturing her all these years have not been in vain." Hanako seriously said, "There's something I don't understand, and I wish to consult you about it." Kaku, kneeling beside them, found it strange and reminded her, "Hey, why aren't you using honorifics? Where are your manners?" Hanako paid no attention and continued, "Do your actions align with the principles you preach?" The sect master stared at her and said, "What do you mean? Are you questioning my moral principles as a person all this time?" She seriously tied her hair up and said, "Is what you call benevolence and righteousness merely spouting benevolence, propriety, wisdom, and trustworthiness all day long, but behind people's backs you commit robbery, murder, arson, and wipe out entire families?" Kaku stood up in a panic and said, "What are you saying? Father does everything for our sect." As she tied her hair into a bun, she said, "Proficient in minor courtesies, but lacking in great righteousness. Meticulous about trivial details, but devoid of morality. Moon Girl's superior strength, item, reduces the amount of essence consumed when casting spells." She continued seriously, "Only focusing on petty details while disregarding integrity. Only fearing authority, but not appreciating virtue. Horse-faced magic robe of superior grade, item, increases the power of moves utilizing spiritual energy by 30%, and automatically absorbs spiritual energy for self-recovery." A few streaks of green wind appeared in Hanako's hand. She said, "The weak will surely submit."
The sword on the table trembled, then immediately flew into her hand. Hanako said angrily, "Might controls all." Suddenly, Kaku lunged from nowhere, intending to strike her with his hand. He shouted loudly, "Great rebellion and unrighteousness! Today I shall eliminate you on behalf of my father." Hanako raised her leg back and kicked him hard in the face, sending Kaku flying out the window, creating a large hole. The Sectmaster spoke up, "It seems you've learned something, so I no longer need to pretend." After speaking, he frowned and shouted, "Guards!" A group of people, weapons in hand, immediately rushed over. He ordered, "Take action!" Immediately, that group of people fiercely charged towards her. One man swung his sword, slashing past Hanako, who quickly retreated to dodge. Then she used the sword in her hand to block his next attack. Hanako quickly raised her leg and kicked him hard in his bald head, distorting his entire face.
After one man fell, the next one advanced, pointing his sword directly at her face. Hanako quickly dodged, then drew her sword and slashed him across the body, sending blood splattering everywhere. Shurikens were continuously thrown at her. Hanako agilely dodged and parried with her sword. One of the shurikens she deflected bounced back and hit one man in the crowd, causing him to cough up blood and fall sprawling on the floor, to the astonishment of his comrades. Suddenly, Hanako leaped straight into the crowd. They watched her with surprised caution. One man shouted, "What the hell? She just jumped right in? Everyone, attack! Swing your blades and cut her down!" The entire mob swiftly took up their weapons and attacked her. Hanako stood in the middle of the crowd, calmly observing. One man slashed downwards, and she parried with the sword in her hand. Then, one after another, other men also grappled with her. One man in the group said, "Just a little more, hold her tight. The other's thrusts are about to impale her." Immediately after, a man with a spear quickly charged towards Hanako. Seeing this, she immediately shouted, "Instant wall lightning glow!" A powerful surge of lightning emanated from her every step, sending the attacking crowd flying back in pain. She launched herself straight onto the rooftop, causing the roof to explode and creating a large hole. The spearman looked up, searching for her, and asked in confusion, "Where is she? Where did she go?" Immediately after, a sword slash came down, splitting his spear in half. She landed on the ground. Upon seeing this, another man rushed her from behind. He was swiftly cut down. She glided past each person, every sword strike unhesitating, sending blood splattering everywhere. The remaining men shouted, "What the hell are you doing? So many of us, and we're losing to just one woman? Maintain formation. Don't let her shatter our ranks."
Seeing this, Ming Tai said, "Do these fools think they can win just by relying on numbers? Even though this girl was picked up by the Sect Master from outside and didn't inherit the Sect Master's martial arts talent, when it comes to comprehension and using blades and swords, she's among the best in the sect. Unless our renowned Sect's 3 swords make a move, this girl won't stop." Shen Hu chuckled and said, "If that's the case, why don't you go up? Why have you been hiding on the sidelines watching the show for so long?" Ming Tai replied, Do you think I'm stupid? All 3 swordsmen are here watching the show. There's no way I'm rushing in to be cannon fodder for others. Besides, my instantaneous blade draw succeeds or fails in an instant, so of course I have to wait for her to reveal a weakness first. When all those people had fallen in pools of blood, Hanaka was also exhausted. She panted, using her sword for support.
Mingtai quickly realized it. He thought to himself, she's exhausted all her strength. This is a good opportunity. He then drew his sword. He quickly lunged forward, slashing past her like a gust of wind. Hanako realized it but didn't have time to dodge. Immediately, another assailant also rushed forward and slashed at her neck. In the distance, Long-On realized it and said, "That girl's breath is weakening." Then she turned to ask Heiken, "Are you going to help her?" He replied, "I didn't expect you to care about her life and death. I thought you would resent her. After all, she once trapped you with a magic formation for a long time." Long-On said, "I had escaped that petty magic formation without even exerting myself. After escaping it, I found that I couldn't see either of you anymore. I even thought you had betrayed me and fled." Then Heiken cast a spell with his hand, saying, "Help? Of course I'll help." Immediately, the houses where Hanaka was fighting were surrounded by a golden barrier. Golden light barrier. The rectangular golden barrier surrounded them without a single gap. Long-On wondered, "You said you'd help by trapping all of Yingzong's people inside? Wouldn't that also trap Hua Tianhui inside?" Heiken replied flustered, "It's fine. After all, there's Long. I'll take the blows for her. Plus the effect of blood boil. I trust Tianhui. If the situation gets too bad, I'll step in. We must ensure that no one escapes to seek revenge. We must eradicate them completely."
Hanaka was hit, lying on the ground in a pool of blood. Seeing this, Mingtai sheathed his sword and said smugly, "One strike and it's done. Nothing more to it." After that, Hanako tremblingly propped herself up with the sword in her hand, struggling to stand. Seeing this, Mingtai's face twisted in anger, and he yelled, "How is she still alive? I clearly severed her neck." He recalled that she had used her sword to block just now. He said, "It seems that reflexive block saved your life. Your fortune she isn't bad. But this time, I won't let myself fail." With that, his eyes turned red, and he rushed quickly towards Hanako, brushing past her. She performed a hand technique, yelling, "Spirit Chi manipulation, dodge and counter him." This attack shattered the wooden floor, sending splinters flying everywhere. Mingtai climbed up, cutting through the obstructing pieces of wood, and said excitedly, "Did you think these petty tricks could stop me?" Blood boil activation, damage plus 30%. Hanako rushed from behind, swung her sword, and said calmly, "I can't block you, but making you draw your sword first is enough." Suddenly, a sword strike blocked her sword. Hanaka was surprised. He laughed, saying, "Even without the advantage of drawing first, my speed is still enough to resist."
Seeing this, she screamed loudly. Her world-breaking blade art quickly broke free from Mingtai's sword block. Finally, she slashed a long gash across his body, blood splattering everywhere. On the ground was a severed arm, accompanied by a system notification. Quest progress. After using world-breaking blade art in combat, cast world-breaking blade art 5 times, 1 of 5. World-breaking blade art consumes a large amount of spiritual energy. When successfully parrying, it will ignore the opponent's defense, slashing directly at the enemy behind their weapon. Currently, spiritual energy is too low. To continue using world-breaking blade art, please wait for spiritual energy to recover. Seeing Tan Hui finish off her opponent, Mingtai walked over and taunted, "Well, the weakest one has been taken down." Walking beside him, Shen Shu wondered, the saber used to block is still intact. How did she manage to slash the person behind the blade? After asking, he pondered with a cunning gaze. It had only been a few days, yet her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds to this extent. If it were before, his draw saber technique would have been enough to kill her several times over. Standing in front, Mingtai turned his head and called out, "Let's go together." Tsk. It's not that I'm not confident, it's just that I think the credit for eliminating her should be shared among everyone. Shen Shu excitedly drew his sword forcefully. "Agreed. You go first, I'll cover you from behind." Then he swung his blade, creating a powerful gust of wind. Void-breaking slash. The blade rushed forward, quickly and cleanly dodged by Tan Hui. Nearby, Mingtai slyly advanced to ambush. Extremely agile, Tan Hui moved swiftly, raising her sword to block the attack. He slashed once, sending Tian Hui flying into the wall, creating a huge impact. From that collision, a dark figure flew out. It was Tian Hui, who skillfully lowered herself to the ground. Tian Hui looked down at the saber she was holding, thinking to herself, "This saber is too heavy." Suddenly realizing something, her eyes widened in surprise. Right beside Tian Hui, Mingtai had already slashed once with his sword. He stepped aside, swung another slash, and then flashed an arrogant smile. Tian Hui was caught off guard and struck, causing her saber to fly away. Another slash in whistling towards her. She risked using her bare hands, enveloping them in power as she lunged forward, performing spirit chi manipulation. With one powerful hand, she grabbed the blade of his sword, and the surrounding scene became chaotic, with dirt and rocks flying everywhere. Tian Hui was increasingly pushed down by the force, to the point of kneeling on the ground. She winced, feeling the immense pressure on the blade. Suddenly, a slash came from nowhere, aimed directly at Tian Hui's abdomen. She didn't have time to realize it and was struck, sent flying in astonishment. Seeing this, Mingtai looked at Shen Shu with a sass-that smile. How cruel, you've cut her in half. Shen Shu replied calmly. Hurry up, give her another slash. Cutting off her head will make sure. Hearing this, Mingtai took his saber and walked towards Tianhui's body. He didn't hesitate to slash down forcefully, but she had already realized and jumped away.
He noticed his own bewildered gaze, then suddenly became suspicious. How can she still stand up? Seeing her wounds and clothes returning to their original state, he exclaimed in astonishment. Not just the wounds, even her clothes are restored? Mingtai stood in a corner, dazed. A fatal wound that had almost cut her body in half had healed in the blink of an eye. Can the condensing true realm control this healing cultivation technique? Tianhui raised her hand, generating magic power, and quickly a saber appeared in her hand. She confidently stepped forward, and the system prompt rang out. Blood boil activation, damage plus 80%. Tianhui dug her feet firmly into the ground, gathering momentum. Faced with this scene, Mingtai's body began to tremble. What the hell? Why did I unconsciously take a step back? It's just that she has a slightly more powerful healing method than others. Gathering all his courage, he charged forward with his sword, launching an attack. No matter what, you can't withstand my saber. As long as I take your head, your healing cultivation techniques will be useless. Unwilling to concede defeat, Tianhui swiftly swung her saber in retaliation. The two slashes clashed, radiating immense power. Shen Shu, standing nearby, began to worry. Slashed across the body by a void-breaking slash, yet still able to continue fighting, and now she could even wield a saber with one hand? Feeling uneasy, he slowly drew his sword. This enemy grew stronger with every blow. He had to defeat her quickly. Sword in hand, Shen Shu rushed towards the other two at high speed. Consecutive void-severing slashes split the ground in two. 3 powerful slashes, one after another, flew in from a distance. Seeing this, Mingtai cried out in panic, "Are you trying to cut me down too?" Shen Shu sneered in response, "The sect will forever remember your sacrifice." Unwilling, Mingtai leaped high into the air. "I'm not going to be a human shield." But Tianhui used her power to prevent him from moving. She stood below, looking at him with cold eyes. "Where do you think you're going?" Then Tianhui used magic to move Mingtai's body to block the 3 slashes. Immediately after, the attack left a mangled trail of blood. On Shen Shu's side, he saw a thick cloud of smoke and splattered blood within. Gradually, the smoke dissipated, revealing a blood-soaked ground. Shen Shu suddenly thought, "She's gone." But he reacted quickly, slashing horizontally towards Tianhui with his right hand, saying, "Over here, I've got you." She arched her back, quickly moving to dodge the attack. Then Tianhui skillfully landed on her hands.
The system reported spiritual energy had recovered and world-breaking blade art could now be used. Upon receiving the notification, she charged into battle against Chen Shu using world-breaking blade art. By this point, Chen Shu still managed a forced smile. "You're truly excellent at taking hits, but when it comes to swordsmanship, I'm not." Before he could finish his sentence, Tianhui's sword severed his blade. Her sword slashed into the middle of Shen Shu's head. Only then did he continue. "Inferior." With a cold, sharp gaze, Tianhui unhesitatingly sliced him in half, blood gushing out like water.
Tianhui swung her sword powerfully. The system announced, "Quest progress after pre-approved world-breaking blade art is 2/5." She turned her head to look. Standing on the rooftop, Long Qi clapped his hands in praise. "Excellent, truly excellent. Lately your progress has been as swift as a whirlwind. This father is extremely pleased." Tianhui's face darkened, and she gritted her teeth. "Long Qi, you legitimate wife." She leaped high, ready to deal with him. "You truly make people sick." Just as she swung her sword, Long Qi merely raised his slender sword to parry lightly, causing Tianhui's blade to fall off. Following the momentum, she also fell to the ground. Surrounding Long Qi were many sharp saber tips. Tianhui, holding her sword, knelt opposite him, hesitant. Seeing that she wouldn't fight back, Long Qi smiled confidently. "That year, I comprehended the Iron Wall saber technique. While you hadn't finished learning it, I annihilated your entire family. What a brilliant decision that was. And now, only I exclusively possess this ultimate technique." Tianhui's face darkened, tense. "Your mouth is about to split open to your brains," he asked disdainfully. "Huh? So what?" She gritted her teeth, looking at him with utter hatred. "You'd best keep that disgusting smile on your face, lest I chop your brains to pieces later," turning that smile upside down. She moved so fast that the ground cracked. Immediately, Tianhui rushed in front of him, 2 streams of power fiercely clashing. The clash moved everywhere, with smoke, dust, and debris flying around. Long Qi's blades constantly moved, forming a sharp formation. Although Tianhui was cut, with blood spurting from many places, she remained fearless, continuously launching attacks. Standing within the protective encirclement of the blades, he sneered. "This automatic saber defense formation only consumes a little of my magic power. Even if you risk your life, you won't even scratch a single hair on my head. The stronger you attack, the more severely you'll be injured. Let's see how long you can last." With determined eyes, Tianhui charged forward, breaking the saber formation. 2 blades from 2 sides clashed violently. She quickly bypassed his defense, her blade gradually touching Long Qi's body.
but then he smiled and gently blocked it. The system reported, mission progress after pre-approved breaking the saber formation is 3/5.
Long Chi bowed his head, his eyes gleaming. As expected, your move could only penetrate one layer of defense. Long Chi's protective blade barrier spun more intensely. I've been observing from the start. I've long seen through all your techniques. Immediately, a barrage of blades lunged forward, continuously striking Tianhui. Finally, silence filled the space. Tianhui lay on the ground in a pool of blood. She lay still, face up to the sky, motionless. That face's reflection appeared in a teacup. The black cat stirred the teacup and said, "Hey, your new blood-sucking ghost is about to kick the bucket." He flinched. Nongwei Tho looked at Dragonlord. "Are you bleeding?" Dragonlord grumbled in response. "It's just a little bit of blood. Don't overreact like that." Looking at Dragonlord's pale and bruised body from blood loss, Nongwei Tho exclaimed in alarm. "What do you mean a little bit? It must be a ton." The two sat facing each other and the cat continued. "Honestly, I know you're using that kid, but you've taken so many blows for him and his disciples. I don't believe there isn't some grand scheme behind it." Dragonlord smiled with amusement. The secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. Back on the battlefield, Long Chi's expression was stunned. Tianhui, her body covered in wounds, confidently stood up and looked at him. "What's with that expression? I told you, you should keep that wide grin." Long Chi remained unafraid, smiling brightly. "This time, I'll definitely chop you into mincemeat."
System stats reported. Blood boil activated. Damage plus 1705. Tianhui's blade gradually created a gust of wind, sending rocks flying around her. Her face darkened and she charged forward with her sword at an incredibly fast speed. This time she had bypassed his first layer of defense, and lightning struck down in front of Long Chi. But another layer of protection blocked her, and Long Chi still wore a bright smile. Then he gripped his power-infused sword, preparing to attack. "Go die!" But then Tianhui's blade bypassed the remaining layer of protection, swiftly slashing straight into Long Chi's mouth. He was astonished. "What? There's a second move?" Tianhui slashed across his head with a cold expression. "I told you, I would definitely slice open that disgusting mouth of yours." Immediately, a powerful gust of wind swept in. She shouted, "World-breaking blade art, second movement." His head was severed, and that surge of power struck hard behind him. After the battle, sunlight shone upon the ruins. A quest notification appeared. Quest after performing world-breaking blade art completed. 5 of 5. Long Chi lay in a pool of blood, behind him a scene of desolation and ruin. Long Chi's son hid behind a nearby wall, witnessing everything. He thought in fear. Father's iron wall saber technique was supposed to be absolute defense. How could Hanako have shattered it? Immediately, Chi Zhao turned and ran for his life. He secretly thought, "Anyway, I'm the Sect master now." As he ran, he laughed in delight. "Once I escape, I'll go to the distant Great Camp Sects for aid. Then I'll return to take your head, whether you're Hanako or Hua Tianhui."
Long Zhao still hadn't realized. He thought, as you guys would say, as long as the Green Mountains are there, there's no need to worry about firewood. The moment he finished speaking, a circular seal formation, a slaughter trap, appeared beneath Long Zhao's feet. Following that, a towering fiery vortex appeared. A system notification appeared. Yingzong's Long Chi clan has been completely annihilated. Hua Tianhui's mission, after being pre-approved, has been completed. Hua Tianhui stood watching the flames engulf the building in front of her. The knot in her heart had been untied. "Father, mother, sister, I have avenged you all." The wind blew, rustling leaves in the sky. Hei Qin raised a finger towards her. "Tianhui, well done." A notification sound rang out. 30% of the cultivation and merit earned from this mission has been paid to Hei Qin. Hua Tianhui's cultivation has broken through to the 9th layer of the condensing true realm. Hei Qin's current cultivation realm has reached its limit, and she can pre-approve the golden core realm. Tianhui shook her tattered skirt. "Master, this Dharma robe can no longer self-recover."
He raised 2 fingers, spiritual energy flowing out. "It's all right, it's just that the spiritual energy in your body is too weak right now. I've opened shop access for you. You can get a new set on credit." She turned to operate the shop interface. "Yes, thank you, Master." A moment later, she chose a new set. "I'll take this set. The style is similar, and the attributes are almost the same." Suddenly, Tianhui remembered, his voice faltering as he scratched his cheek. "However, after getting it on credit, you'll have to pay back 500,000 spirit coins." "I can't afford that," he reassured her. "It's fine. Before you burned down the Long Chi clan's mansion, I had already collected almost all of their assets. We can just use their own legacy to pay for it." Unexpectedly at this moment, Heizun's fur bristled. He took a sharp breath, his hair standing on end, radiating killing intent. Long On, radiating killing intent, looked at him. "Master, you're playing favorites with junior sister too much. I became your disciple first, so why don't I get anything?"
He immediately turned to defend himself. Calm down, I'll advance you some now." Hearing that, she was satisfied. That's more like it. He asked, "What do you want to upgrade? Cultivation, equipment, cultivation technique?" She clenched her fists, muscles bulging. "Only children choose. I'll take everything." Hearing the answer, he said loudly, a stream of spiritual energy appearing on his fingertip. "Advance payment for upgrading the twin-winged greatsword." The system panel appeared before Long On. "Oh, you can see the system interface now too." Before her was a question. The twin-winged greatsword has been upgraded. Please complete the mission within 1 week. After completing the mission, your cultivation, equipment, and cultivation technique will be upgraded. If you wish to start the mission, please press the button to be teleported to the corresponding secret realm. She selected the yes button. Hei Qin spoke up. Hey, are you just going to leave? Not taking the second round of exams? Long on, annoyed. What's there to think about? It's not a real university entrance exam. As long as Master can eventually lead me to Ascension, I don't care what happens in between. Immediately she vanished, leaving only a few shadows behind. Tianhui exclaimed, Senior's sister is so cool. Hei Qin looked at her phone. Speaking of her, the school just sent a notification, asking us to pick up the exam cards for the second mock exam. The scene shifted to Qin Yan. She was a bit annoyed seeing the two. Why are you two only coming to pick them up now? Other students finished picking them up a week ago. He explained, because we had too many makeup classes. It made our heads spin, so we forgot. Where's the exam room? She continued, the card has a magic seal carved into it. Activating spiritual energy will teleport you directly to the exam location. He exclaimed, oh, that's some high-tech stuff. Qin Yan crossed her arms. In the first mock exam you really shone, standing out even more than the school's top students. Your overall rank jumped straight to number 1.
He chuckled and scratched his head. Haha, that's just luck, just luck. She reminded him, this second simulation exam is a cluster exam of 10 schools, and all participants are top-tier competitors. Among them, there will certainly be those with sinister tricks. Be careful. The next day, Tianhui's worried voice rang out. Master, will we be at the same examination point? Haegun gripped the card tightly and replied, not sure. The examination points are randomly assigned. Pay attention to your safety. We'll meet at the finish line. He channeled spiritual energy into the card, and a golden light appeared. Let's go. The light from the magic circle shone upon his resolute face. A moment later, Hei Qin stared straight ahead. Before him was a forest with enormous ancient trees, towering as if to pierce the sky.
He thought to himself, is this the ancient forest's secret realm? I'd only ever read about it in the syllabus before, but now that I've personally entered, I see the trees here are far more colossal than I'd imagined. In the sky, a drone zipped past, a camera and microphone attached underneath. An announcement rang out. The exam begins! As soon as the words fell, a massive figure blocked the sunlight, catching Hei Qin's attention. In front of him was a bear demon, a 5th-tier spirit beast. A bear demon. It roared, its colossal arms swinging to attack. At that moment, he clenched his fist and punched forward, confronting its strike. His fist struck hard into the bear demon's abdomen. Its eyes widened and its entire body flew up. The bear demon then slid far away, leaving a long trail of blood on the ground. Another spirit beast was sent flying by a punch, its eyes wide open and its tongue lolling out. The one who had just punched it down was the 3rd-ranked student of Chibi No. 6 Middle School. In the distance, 2 girls were jumping and cheering. Young Master Junhao, Young Master Junhao, forever the strongest. Young Master Junhao, Young Master Junhao, forever the strongest. They were the twin sisters Tan Shu and Sun Xiang, the 9th and 10th-ranked students of No. 6 High School. He crossed his arms and smiled in response. The first monster was just a freebie. That one wasn't even enough for a warm-up. He recalled Hei Qin's image and couldn't help but think to himself, Hei Qin, I only lost to you in the first mock exam due to carelessness. I'm not weaker than you, just you wait. Suddenly, a faint cry came from behind, making Junhao's face turn pale as he slowly turned his head.
Behind him was a spectacled bear demon at the 6th condensation realm. Its fierce, blood-red eyes terrified him. His gaze swept over the scars on the demon's body. He looked wary and fearful, realizing this demon was an extremely formidable opponent, one that had climbed to the top of the food chain on its own. Its aura was as strong as that mushroom demon's. Behind the rock, Sun Xiang exclaimed in surprise, Wow, young Master Lai is so cool to face such a powerful demon and remain unfazed. Sun Xiang nodded in agreement. Exactly. Junhao's feet wouldn't stop trembling. His face grew paler and paler as he wondered why his legs wouldn't move. Was the psychological trauma from the previous exam really that severe? Suddenly, something made the spectacled bear demon look to its right. Then it turned tail and ran, with an expression of extreme terror. Junhao was bewildered by the sight. Huh? Why is the demon running away? Just then, Hei Qin zipped past him from behind. He ran so fast it created a gust of wind, startling Junhao, who yelled, What was that? Looking at the dust cloud before him, Junhao wondered, was that Hei Qin just now? Excitement immediately overshadowed his fear. He gave chase, a crazed smile on his face. My cute little bear cub, where are you running off to? There was a deep indentation on the tree trunk, surrounded by bloodstains. On the ground, scattered rocks were also covered in blood. Junhao slowly approached. In front of him was a large pool of blood that caught his attention. His eyes widened and sweat streamed down his face. This is... Ahead were the corpses of the monsters Hei Qin had just chased. Their bodies all had a gaping hole left by his fist. The scene before Junhao made him tremble.
These dozens of monster beasts were all elites at the 5th to 6th layers of the condensing true realm cultivation, yet he effortlessly wiped them out. He had naively thought he could compete a little. A voice echoed through the forest and a mana projection appeared, announcing, Test Subject 1 has concluded. Prepare for Test Subject 2. Currently, 72 100 candidates remain. Provisional rankings, Zhang Shishi, 200 points, He Qin, 200 points, Wang Ping, 198 points, Hua Tianhui, 186 points, Mo Dun, 180 points. A muscular young man looked up and exclaimed, Can you believe it? Someone actually turned a bonus question into a death sentence? He said with a hint of gravity. That's Wang Ping, top 1 of high school number 8. This second simulated exam stipulates that only students in the top 10 of their grade from each school are allowed to participate. You guys are truly disgracing your school's top 10 title. Then he turned to Tianhui. Wouldn't you agree, beautiful? She silently turned her face away, paying him no mind. Then she leaped onto a tree. Wang Ping looked up, following her movement. He smirked and raised his hand, performing the seal formation, shrink the ground into an inch. Instantly, he teleported behind her. Wang Ping's mouth kept chattering. When I watched you during Test Subject 1, I already saw your great potential. Have you considered joining our sect after the exam concludes? With someone of your extraordinary talent, once I gain the qualification to take disciples, the first thing I'll do is accept you as my head disciple. Tianhui rolled her eyes, showing her displeasure. She turned back to look at him with disdain. First, this guy stole my monster beasts, and now he's been following me around nagging all afternoon. He's utterly annoying.
The system panel appeared, and the second subject's exam began. Hidden within the exam area were several armor-breaking fragments. Collecting 10 armor-breaking fragments could form an armor-breaking spear, greatly increasing the probability of defeating the demonic beast guarding the pass. Scene change. High above, a young man stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his voice full of disdain. Deliberately trying to be mysterious. Isn't the demonic beast guarding the pass just on that mountaintop? He shouted loudly. Wind-riding stepping wind technique. A current of wind appeared beneath his feet, lifting him up. He soared high, his arms enveloped by wind whirlwinds. This was Mo Dun, the top student of high school number 7. He flashed a confident smile. I am the peerless genius of the Mo clan, a genius who can ride the wind and fly even before reaching the Golden Core realm. What need is there for an armor-breaking spear? Watch me directly behead this demonic beast. Standing before him was a massive, ferocious black demonic ape at the 10th layer of the Profound Truth realm. Mo Dun's body was surrounded by wind whirlwinds. He swung his hand, and immediately a powerful gust of wind carrying pebbles shot towards the black demonic ape. What? I thought the demonic beast guarding the pass would be formidable. Turns out its cultivation realm is only equal to mine. Wind-riding adamant wind stone shattering. The swirling winds, swift as blades, attacked the black demonic ape. Wind cuts had already appeared on the cliff face. From its center, a swirling circle of wind lifted earth and stones.
The entire rock was shattered by Mo Dun's attack. From afar on a tree branch, Wang Ping, who was observing, immediately said, No way, was that all it took for Sheng Wu to make a bet? A moment later, Mo Dun hovered high above, with his hands clasped behind his back, looking down at the swirling rock dust, and haughtily declared, The points for this second test are mine. Suddenly, he sensed something, his brows furrowed tightly, thinking, I suddenly feel an incredibly powerful aura.
Reacting instantly, Mo Dun shot out of there, his face tense, cold sweat beating on his forehead. He said, Just widen the distance first. From within the thick dust and smoke, the black demonic ape burst forth with astonishing speed, extending its massive arms towards Mo Dun. Mo Dun suddenly glanced behind him, his face frozen in fear. It's unharmed? Immediately, Mo Dun thrust his hand forward, unleashing the Imperial Wind layered wind technique. Immediately afterward, the demonic ape clapped its hands together forcefully, creating a gust of wind that flew towards him, but he managed to block it. The immense force of the attack struck Mo Dun, making him wince in pain, cold sweat beating on his forehead. The pressure from the 2 strikes created a heaven-shaking explosion. Mo Dun was blasted to the ground by the explosion. He crashed through branches, plummeting heavily to the earth, sending dirt and rocks flying. A small crater formed where Mo Dun landed. He lay sprawled out, his body convulsing, eyes tightly shut, spitting blood from his mouth. Meanwhile, the black demonic ape also landed right beside him, creating a large indentation in the ground. Wang Ping sat there, observing with one hand resting on his knee. Fool, this is what happens when you don't read the instructions and just blunder ahead, even dragging a great demon into it. He observed the black demonic ape, assessing. Luckily, it doesn't appear to be initiating an attack. His eyes dropped to the great demon's sharp claws. The piercing armor is on this great demon, but to defeat it, I must retrieve the piercing armor. What kind of absurd test question was that earlier, I wonder? Suddenly, Wang Ping had an idea, his eyes widening.
I've seen a few elite bear demons carrying piercing armor before. It's rare, but if I put in the effort to hunt now... Just then, a brown bear demon with glowing red eyes appeared, swinging its fist and charging forward. Immediately, he rose into an offensive stance.
The demon slammed hard into the tree trunk, creating a hole. Suddenly, a jet of water shot straight through the demon's chest, causing it to freeze in surprise, its eyes wide. Blood spurted out, and the demon fell backward, sending dust flying everywhere. Wang Ping remained in his attacking stance. Water serpent thread. He moved to the demon's corpse to examine it. Not every elite bear demon has an armor-piercing claw. This item is extremely rare. Let's see if this one hit the jackpot. Holding an armor-piercing claw in his hand, Wang Ping sighed. It's truly not easy to defeat over a dozen elites just to get one. From somewhere, a figure flew past above Wang Ping's head. He looked up. Around the girl's waist were 3 armor-piercing claws. Seeing this, he was astonished, mouth agape, not expecting her to have already acquired 3. His resolve burning, he waved his arms and legs, unleashing skills wildly, shouting, "I cannot lose to Water Serpent Chaotic Strike!" The booming sound echoed throughout the entire forest. Not far away on a cliff, Junhao stood tall. Suddenly, a thump sound caught his attention, and he glanced behind him. Tianhui knelt on one knee, hands on the ground, reporting, "Master, your disciple has gathered 6 armor-piercing claws. If you don't have enough, you may take some." Junhao turned to look at her and calmly replied, "I appreciate your kind offer, but it's not necessary." Then he bent down, swung one arm skyward, radiating terrifying energy, and unleashed the skill, Foresight Spear Armor Break.
Tianhui stood beside them, her face tense as she witnessed the scene. At this moment, a long black spear appeared in Junhao's hand, radiating powerful energy. A series of strikes pierced the bear, causing it to finally collapse. Wang Ping approached and searched the bear. He pulled out a nan and cheered excitedly. 9 already, just 1 more. The system board displayed the rankings. First place, Wang Ping, 9 of 10. Second place, Zhang Ji, 7 of 10. Third place, Hua Tianhui, 6 of 10. 67th place, He Qin, 0 of 10. Reading it, Wang Ping said, "That He Qin, who even solved the super difficult bonus question, turns out to be useless. Truly all talk and no substance. This time I'm definitely the one who will pass the second test." Suddenly, the system reported, "He Qin has finished crafting the armor-breaking spear." Wang Ping's jaw dropped after reading it. Huh? Standing nearby, watching him, Tianhui thought, "Can this also be considered formidable? Master is truly amazing."
Meanwhile, He Qin was raising 2 fingers, radiating power. The wind elemental magic of that Mo fellow earlier was quite impressive. I've checked, these are all public versions, not subject to any copyright disputes, so they can be precast. The name of the technique was read out, Precast Imperial Wind Magic, to be pre-approved for Hua Tianshui. Once finished, he turned to look at Tianhui. The scoring rules for the second trial are based on the damage each contestant inflicts on the Great Demon. Later, I will deplete the Great Demon's health almost entirely, then you rush in to finish it off. That way, both our scores will be the highest. She obediently replied, "Yes." Having said that, He Qin also grabbed his saber and leaped into the abyss. He descended extremely fast. Amidst the forest, a gigantic black silhouette appeared. It was a colossal Great Demon. It sensed the presence and lifted its head to look. The Great Demon clasped its hands, creating an extremely powerful gust of wind that tore through the treetops. He Qin was still descending, facing the attack, yet pressing on with full determination. Then He Qin used his foot to push off to the side for leverage, immediately soaring high into the sky. Amidst the brightly shining sky, a solitary dazzling ray of light appeared. The Great Demon stared, astonished.
From the sky, he shot down like a rocket, creating a shockwave that sent the Great Fiend flying. Next, he swung his saber in an arc. In front of the Great Fiend, a cloud of dust surged forward. Suddenly, from within the smoke, the tip of the saber appeared, plunging straight down. It quickly pierced the Great Fiend's abdomen. Maintaining his stance, Hai Qin unleashed his magic, the Dark Thunder Law. Instantly, the space became dazzling, and brilliant lightning bolts appeared, channeling into the Great Fiend's body. The Great Fiend gripped the saber tightly, pulled it out, and groaned loudly. Then the Great Fiend noticed something unusual and looked over in fear. Immediately, it was struck down, sprawling flat. The technique was called out, Imperial Wind, Leaf Wind Art. With the saber still embedded in the Great Fiend, Hai Qin, looking terrifying, pushed it thousands of meters away. After the collision, the forest air was filled with dust. Nearby, Wang Ping grumbled boredly, "How dare he steal my monster?" Meanwhile, Dong lay sprawled on the ground, trembling. He sat up, his head spinning. Was I knocked out? Dong turned to look at something that surprised him. Over there, a large tree had broken and fallen, bringing with it a lot of dust. Nearby, Hai Qin, with abundant power, was attacking the colossal Great Fiend. His appearance became more terrifying as he continuously attacked. Thousands of slashes were unleashed, cutting into the Great Fiend's abdomen, sending blood splattering. Hai Qin held his saber pointed forward. The saber pierced through the tree with immense force. the large ancient tree broke and fell, crashing heavily to the ground. Seeing this, Hai-Chin was stunned.
He maintained his stance, pointing the tip of his saber towards the great demon, who stood to the side, having dodged the attack. Wang Ping witnessed this and smiled. That bear demon shrunk its body. Knowing it couldn't dodge in time or block effectively, it shrunk itself for greater agility. He sneered, thinking to himself, "Let's see how you defend yourself, Hai-Kin. If you can't handle it, I'll jump in and steal your thunder." Not giving up, Hai-Kin changed direction, continuing to unleash thousands of slashes at it. The great demon then raised its fist to counterattack. Hai-Kin reacted quickly, using his saber to block the punch. Due to the immense force, he was pushed back, thinking, even though this guy has shrunk, his attack power is still formidable. His eyebrows furrowed slightly. It gathered chi into an armor on its arm, something it hadn't used before shrinking. This move was probably not yet perfected, so it couldn't cover its entire colossal body, only being usable for physical defense combined with steel defense. No wonder the exam question stated, greatly increases the probability of passing, rather than guaranteed to pass. Having thought this, Hai-Kin changed direction and climbed onto a rock outcrop. Seeing this, the great demon immediately pursued closely. Seeing this, his hand skillfully spun the saber in a circle, and from that position, he gained momentum to leap towards the great demon, executing the returning horse spear. The great demon stood frozen, facing this direct attack. It quickly activated a defiant armor layer, emitting a golden glow. As if anticipating everything, Hai-Kin remained resolute, executing the pre-approved move, piercing his throat. From that position, he gathered momentum and thrust powerfully, stabbing directly into the monster's throat.
A massive explosion occurred, its power piercing through every rock crevice. Hai-Chin slowly stepped onto the beam, walking towards the monster. He began to analyze. It's not easy to precisely control the health to exactly half, but this remaining half of the health bar is enough for Tianhui to finish off, which should be enough to pass the stage. And then Hai-Chin turned back and called out, "Tianhui, come quickly." At that very moment, a figure swiftly dashed past him. Hai-Chin was startled, his eyes showing traces of bewilderment. Mudan frantically said, "Let me absorb this remaining bit of health." He cast Imperial Wind Guard Blade, gathering power to create powerful gusts of wind. After Mudan laughed maniacally, he suddenly froze. Mudan vaguely looked at the empty cliff face. Missed it. He turned back to see Tianhui had already taken Casa the demonic bear. She extended her hand and cast a spell, Imperial Wind Guard Iron. Immediately, the system reported, Casa the demonic bear has been eliminated.
Mo Dun was stunned. A spirit artifact, wind control, and even a cultivation technique he knew nothing about. He thought, one by one, how did every single one of them know Imperial Wind? You inferiors are not worthy of using high-level magic like our Mo family. Mo Dun stepped forward and spoke. I only just closed my eyes for a moment, and you've already stolen my prize. The remaining health bar of the bear behind you is mine. Tianhui scoffed. Only mentioning sleeping? You wouldn't dare utter a word about why you were sleeping, would you? Mo Dun immediately flared up at the questioning, veins bulging on his face. You, among all the contestants here, you two are the most inferior, with no sect background to back you up, nor can we find any connection between you two and any influential figures. Two insignificant cultivators. Even if I kill you here, the judges won't say a thing. Tianhui watched, secretly disgusted. Mo Dun's disgusting sneer, half of his face appearing utterly sinister before her eyes. That expression was exactly like an old acquaintance from her past. After that moment, her eyes narrowed and she unleashed line-severing kill. Tianhui, carrying terrifying killing intent, rapidly charged forward. Hai-Chin beside her shouted, "Guryu, Tianhui, don't kill other contestants in the examination room." Mo Dun replied disdainfully, "What are you saying? An inferior trying to kill a genius like me?" After that, he immediately defended himself in midair, unleashing a wind-controlled defense shield. Tianhui did not stop, continuing to attack directly into that wind formation. Mo Dun laughed confidently. This wind shield has fused with my spiritual energy, its defensive powers impenetrable.
But before he could finish gloating, he saw her right before his eyes. Tianhui began to panic, asking herself, how did it get in? Then, as if a great weight had been lifted, Tianhui let out a sigh of relief. The sword in her hand continued to twirl a few times. And then Tianhui powerfully struck Mo Dun directly in the stomach. The terrifying power was so great that it sent him flying a great distance. Mo Dun flew straight through the tree trunk, leaving a significant mark.
He flew over and said, "Phew, I thought you were really going to chop him up. Good thing you used the blunt side of the blade. She's annoyed. The proctor is in the exam room. Killing another examinee like that would be a huge hassle. But you remember that massacre line, right?" The system announced, "This mock exam has concluded. Here are the final rankings. Hai-Kin, Hua Tianhui, Wang Ping." Tianhui worried. "I only have 6 armor-breaking spears. I still need 4 more. Heidi reassured. "It's okay. I'll go to the mortal realm right away." Suddenly, Wang Ping spoke up. "I have a few here. You can have them all." He wondered, "You don't need them anymore?" "These are excellent materials for crafting weapons." He chuckled. You and classmate Chan Hui have already snatched all the points. What would I keep the exam props for? My family isn't short on weapon materials, so I might as well go with the flow and give them to you. Brother Shai, come out here. Let's talk privately for a bit. Let's leave the exam room first. He said cautiously, What are you planning? I'm straight, you know. The system announced, 10 of 10 armor-breaking spears collected. The bonus mission, pre-approved armor-breaking spear, has been completed. Later, Wang Ping's voice echoed through the building. Today, I've invited the two of you here mainly because I see you are both rare talents. He sat down and began seriously. Just listen to me slowly. Whether it's the university entrance exam or later stepping into society to be a slave to capitalism, the ultimate goal is to join a great sect. Normally, modern sects do not directly recruit high school students, but now is a once-in-a-millennium opportunity that can save you both 50 years of struggle. As the son of the sect master of Duanti sect, one of the current 10 great sects, and the destined successor of the sect in the future, I extend my most sincere invitation to both of you. Join us.
He Qin slowly refused. We already have a sect. Immediately, Wang Peng froze on the spot. Wang Peng pointed at Tian Hui. This is my disciple. Tian Hui replied, This is my master. Wang Peng's face immediately turned cold. All my eloquent words wasted. What is your sect called? Suddenly remembering, Tian Hui wondered. By the way, I also forgot to ask what our sect's name is. Master, please tell him loudly what our sect is called. Master. Hearing this, He Qin's blood ran cold as he replied, We're doomed. He Qin anxiously yelled, I forgot to register the sect. Hearing those words, Tian Hui immediately fell backward. Meanwhile, Wang Peng slapped the table and burst out laughing.
His laughter was so loud it pierced through the entire building. A long while later, in a high-rise building, He Di walked to stand in front of the door, waiting for the elevator. Meanwhile, Mo Dun stood watching him through a surveillance screen. He gritted his teeth, veins bulging on his face. Everyone chatted animatedly, not expecting the registration process to be so smooth. They had thought it would be very troublesome. He Qin walked up to room number 7. He King saw him arrive and asked, What procedure are you here for? He Qin declared, I want to register a sect. The person quickly asked for information. Full name? Immediately after his answer, He King's face turned pale upon hearing the name He Qin. His hand trembled as he asked, Do you have a letter of recommendation from a great sect? He Qin replied indifferently and coldly, No. He King continued, Have you broken through to the Golden Core realm yet? He replied, That's about to happen. The registrar immediately refused. So, not yet? He Qin irritably touched the computer. No, sir. He continued to ask, Do you have a Sect Master Challenge certificate? He yelled, What in the world is that now? He King explained, You must enter the designated secret realm as a Sect Master to complete the challenge and then receive a Sect Master Challenge certificate. He Qin argued stubbornly, Then you must let me register the sect first so I can take on the identity of a Sect Master and complete the challenge, right? The other person replied, I don't care. You must complete the challenge first before you can register a sect. His eyes turned fierce and he emphasized, You. Seeing that power, he began to feel afraid and quickly swallowed. Afterwards, He Qin angrily slammed the door and walked out. He King breathed a sigh of relief, having thought he would fly into a rage. After all, he was a 10th level cultivator of the condensing true realm. Suddenly, a voice from behind rang out. What's so scary about knowing an inferior? He King saw the person approaching and called out, Brother Hey.
The madman said, What about the 10th layer of condensing true realm? Didn't he almost lose to me during the second trial? He King helplessly reminded him softly. He almost lost. He glanced down at Mo Dun's wound-covered abdomen and his heavily bandaged hand. He King gave a thumbs up, flatteringly praising, Cousin is so skilled. Originally, the first 2 conditions were enough to block his path. However, the third condition was originally that after the preliminary review, one would receive a temporary Sect Master certificate to complete the challenge, and then return through an appeal to receive the official Sect Master certificate. Just now, I deliberately changed the requirements to target him. This faction has blocked all his possibilities of establishing a sect. Mo Dun said smugly, Surprised, He King? The registration office is full of my people. If you offend me, I will make things difficult for you for the rest of your life. A long time later, at the high-rise building where He King lived, he spoke, What are the prerequisites to break through to the Golden Core realm? Tian Hui replied, First, one must cultivate to the 10th layer of condensing true realm, which Master has already met. One also needs to consume blazing flame mushroom and cold bone grass. Both of these are rare medicinal ingredients, and one must enter a high-level secret realm to collect them.
He Qin operated on the machine. Let me check if these medicinal ingredients in the Sect Master's challenge are related, trying to solve it all at once. Found it! There was a Secret Realm Sect Master's challenge previously recorded where blazing flame mushroom and cold bone grass were collected. That's the one. But this secret realm is located in another sect's territory. To get there, we can only join their team. She looked at it, but their group's requirement was to open a team for the Impermanent Relic Realm Sect Master's Challenge Secret Realm. A Sect Master who has completed the challenge is needed. Yi Hong asked curiously, Brother, how much longer do we have to wait for someone? I'm dying of impatience. Du being reassured, Darling, don't rush. I just managed to call someone. Suzanne reminded. Look, they're here. She complained. Brother, how did you call someone like this? Why is it a student? Clearly they don't meet the group's requirements. He asked. Young man, have you read the group's entry requirements carefully? Hei-chin calmly replied to them. I've read them carefully. Suzanne wondered. You need to have an official Sect Master's token to join the group. How could a student like you have one?
Are you secretly casting spells? Yes, of course. Wait a moment, let me find it. Are you joking, just talking big? Where would a high school student like you get that? The system displayed pre-approved official Sect Master token request. Hei-chin took out a card. See, a freshly minted Sect Master token. After that, Suzanne slowly cast a formation spell to open the door. Immediately, a cave opened up in the middle of the cliff. Suzanne reminded everyone to go. Let's go. Yu exclaimed, so this is the entrance to the hidden secret realm opened by a special incantation. He explained, these secret realms are all important asset to the sect, and outsiders cannot enter them casually. Hei-chin asked curiously, may I ask a question? Is it very rare for a high school student to establish their own sect? Suzanne replied, it's quite rare now. Previously, one could apply to establish a sect just by reaching the condensing true realm, for example the Ying sect, which was destroyed by an unknown party. Their sect master, Ryuzaki Soichi, had just broken through to the condensing true realm when he applied to establish it. Back then, it was still approved, but now the competition is too fierce, so the entry threshold has also been raised. In principle, anything below the golden core realm will not be approved, unless you have a letter of recommendation from a great sect. In that case, you might be approved through a special exception. How can an ordinary high school student reach the golden core realm? You must have a letter of recommendation from some great sect, right? You have quite a background.
He gave a strange smile to gloss over the topic. Yi Hong pleaded, Brothers, this time you absolutely must help me complete that Sect Master challenge. Su Jian assured. Rest assured, I'll definitely carry you through. Du Bing added, Exactly. With two tough guys like us here, what's there to worry about? Heitan secretly assessed. So that's it. 2 people are carrying 1. No wonder this secret realm clearly allows 3 people, yet they insist on bringing an extra person. They're just looking for a fool to be deadweight. Let them be, as long as it doesn't affect me completing my mission. System displayed. Mission to complete. Hold Chiao Pai, Sect Master.
He secretly practiced internal cultivation and was expected to reach the golden core realm. Status board. Now he could assign most tasks to his disciples to complete. Hei-chin was satisfied. Coincidentally, Tan Hui also needed to complete her cultivation of the Imperial Wind Technique, so she assigned this to her as well. System. The additional task of the Imperial Wind Technique has been assigned to Hua Tan Hui. She looked at him puzzled. Brother, how strong is that outsider? He disdainfully replied, Look at his clueless appearance. What strength could he possibly have? Use internal mind speech. Don't worry, he's just Canicotter. We won't let him affect our plans. Suzanne spoke, giving instructions. 3 cave entrances branched off. Yi Hong was surprised. Haven't you already been through here? Why does it seem like the first time? He replied, Guess why this place is called the Impermanent Mystic Realm? Every time you enter, the terrain changes randomly, adding many unpredictable factors. Otherwise, why would this place be designated as a secret realm to challenge Sect Masters? At that moment, Suzanne's eyes glowed. Divine sense. A bottomless black hole appeared, accompanied by strong winds. He pointed and said, Little handsome guy, I've already scouted it for you. The middle cave has the lowest difficulty. We're taking a slight loss to give it to you. Afterward, Hei-chin entered the dark cave alone. He maliciously said, See, this fool is so easy to trick. She chimed in, It's precisely because of fools like him that our plans succeed time and again.
Young exclaimed, How much harder is the cave he entered compared to ours? Su Jian replied, It's like night and day. Our left cave doesn't even have small monsters. We just need to deal with the boss and it's done. When I scouted earlier, I even sensed a familiar surge of demonic chi, proving it's a cave I've conquered before, so I'm quite confident. But the middle cave entrance is completely different. I sensed a whole bunch of strange demonic chi surges, indicating that the demons there are not only powerful, but also as numerous as ants. That student kid's Sect Master's token was definitely obtained through a back door. Just by looking at his naive face, you can tell he has no real combat experience whatsoever. Facing this situation, he might even wet his pants in fear. At that moment, Hei-chin calmly strode alone through the dark cave. Suddenly, something caught his attention. Immediately after, an arrow was inadvertently shot straight towards Hei-chin. He gently flicked the arrow away with his hand, deflecting it. Hei-chin looked into the distance and realized. His hand behind him gathered spiritual energy, wind control void-breaking palm. Finally, the Black Emperor palm struck, shaking the 3 realms. His power was so terrifying that a massive boulder was blasted away. A monster slowly revealed itself in the darkness. Its body was split in 2 by Hei-chin's strike. The system reported, Shadow Lushroom Demonic Archer, condensing True Realm 5th layer, has been eliminated.
He gasped. An invisible demon's arrow had almost struck him. Luckily, he had experienced the Golden Core realm before, so his ability to sense demonic chi was much sharper.
Immediately after, Heichin's eyes narrowed again. He reacted quickly, catching the incoming arrow. Heichin's other hand continued to unleash demonic power. He delivered a blow with a vast amount of furious power, shattering another invisible monster. Heichin's stance remained unrelaxed, still highly defensive. Dazzling sparks shot from his calves. Another monster rushed forward again. Finally, Heichin drew his weapon and slashed. He said indifferently, "I wouldn't say anything if it were far away, but how could I not sense killing intent this close?" Heichin's saber pierced through the monster, then the blade enlarged, sweeping away the monsters in the distance. He moved swiftly, gradually closing in on them. Suddenly, Heichin's entire body froze, his eyes filled with surprise. The saber in his hand danced from left to right with dizzying speed. Heichin spun the blade in a wide arc, sweeping through the space. Streaks of monster blood shot outwards. Their blood splattered everywhere, and there were also strange movements.
He was once again surrounded by invisible monsters. At that very moment, the air seemed to stand still. Simultaneously, a surge of energy was hurtling towards Heichin's head. Arrows rained down, but he shattered them all with a single spear spin. "One by one, huh?" Heichin scoffed. "Just a bunch of cowards who only know ambush sniping." Finally, he unleashed a powerful blow that shook the ground. A mighty gust of wind swept through every corner of the cave, making the entire space eerie and filled with terrifying sounds. The invisible monsters, in a state of frenzy, were swept up by the spiritual energy. They whispered, "This gigantic whirlwind looks impressive, but it turns out it doesn't do any damage. So that's it. A cultivator is only capable of this much?" Unbeknownst to them, Heichin was already standing behind them, saying, "But now, I've got you." One monster turned around, attempting to retaliate by firing an arrow, but he effortlessly changed its trajectory with his bare hand. The ground cracked open, and purple crystals grew increasingly abundant. Invisible monsters appeared in droves, clinging to the cliff walls. All the arrows they shot down were destroyed by Heichin.
The entire chaotic space was captured in the eyes of the small paper figure. It used its tiny body to stealthily observe. Upon seeing this image, Su Zhen frowned. "This is—" Yi Hong, standing nearby, wondered, "How is it? Is that idiot still alive?" He replied, "The original plan was to push him out as a human shield, and while we're at it, scout ahead to see what kinds of demons there are and what their moves are like. That way, when we go in later, we'll know how to plan. Who would have thought this brat would pass the trial so easily?" Du Bing said, "Plan change. We're not dealing with this demon king here anymore. Instead, we'll lure it to that idiot." He immediately took out a glowing axe from his hand, then threw it with great force, sending it spinning away. A moment later, the axe stopped on a crimson rock. At that very moment, the volcano began to activate and spew fire. Sensing the situation, Heichin's face immediately turned cold. Around the pillars were now slashes, signs that Heichin was trying to eliminate the purple monster, but he leaned his staff on the ground and sighed. Suddenly, Heichin froze when he saw a bloodstain on his neck. He quickly dodged, causing white streaks to appear on the ground. A powerful slash swept horizontally, sending drops of blood flying. Heichin looked at the cut on his neck, thinking to himself, "It wasn't until it grazed my neck that I realized this wasn't an attack from some petty soldiers. If I hadn't reacted quickly, my head would surely have been gone." Immediately, he used his staff to draw a circle on the ground. A defensive barrier was quickly created. Outside the barrier, winds began to appear. Suddenly, a purple crystal shot up and slammed hard into the barrier. Heichin's hand emitted a red energy. The ground beneath the monster's feet began to crack. A giant fist emerged, breaking through the earth and rocks, then reached out to grab. But the purple monster gradually faded away. It transformed into a blue energy stream that enveloped its arm, then returned to its original form, charging straight towards Heichin, slashing wildly around the barrier, sending earth and rocks flying. Heichin, inside the barrier, frowned. "You're deafening me. Will you just shut up?" Then he activated the dark lightning skill. The created explosive orb astonished the purple monster. Suddenly, a resounding explosion that shook heaven and earth occurred, but the purple monster still managed to escape. Heichin was furious. "Even chain lightning didn't hit. Among all the demons I've encountered, this one is the fastest."
On the other side, the purple monster thought to itself, "That protective barrier is incredibly tough. Ordinary slashes have no effect. I can't break it from the outside, so what about the ground inside the barrier?" With that said, the purple monster began to gradually disappear, transforming into a stream of blue energy flying through the air. Heichin immediately looked towards that blue energy source with full vigilance. Suddenly, a sword shot up forcefully from the ground, making Heichin open his eyes wide in astonishment. In an instant, the purple monster used its sword to cut him in half. Heichin's face was split in two, leaving him stunned. The purple monster sneered, "So that's it. The loophole in this barrier is beneath your feet." But the monster suddenly froze. A stone substitute. "Damn it, I fell into a trap." Immediately, the purple monster jumped back down to the ground, but was blocked by Heichin's barrier. Now Heichin and the purple monster stood together inside the barrier. The purple monster frowned. So you intentionally didn't erect a barrier beneath your feet all this time, just to lure me in here. But in such a confined space, wielding a long spear against me is truly suicide. At this moment, Hei-chin's body emitted a red energy. He said, "Who says you always have to use weapons to fight monsters? 100 refinement steel, stone talisman art."
The purple monster rushed forward, its voice full of triumph. "If you can't beat me later, don't even think about opening a barrier to escape." It slashed at Hei-chin, but he blocked it. Hei-chin continuously dodged the purple monster's attacks. At this moment, he grabbed his opponent's hand. The purple monster still tried to unleash a skill combo. Hei-chin punched the ground hard, and a wave of golden energy erupted, sending the sword flying from the purple monster's hand, making it exclaim in surprise. "What?"
Hei-chin was about to punch it, but the purple monster transformed into blue energy. He laughed loudly. "Seeing you couldn't win, you went invisible and ran away, huh? What's wrong? Do you need me to open the barrier to make it easier for you to escape?" At this moment, the silhouette of the purple monster appeared behind him. It thought to itself, "Damn it, right now I just want to flay him alive, but I won't fall for the trap again. I'll just stand here and see what you can do. Your wind escape technique, which you use to mess with your petty soldiers, is useless against me. My stealth technique is far more advanced." In his palm, Hei-chin formed a red orb. His voice was threatening. "Still not coming out, huh?" The purple monster saw it and thought in fear. No way. Is he going to use that thing in such a confined space? Doesn't he fear being caught in the explosion himself? Immediately, Hei-chin threw the red orb to the ground. In an instant, the orb exploded, shaking heaven and earth. The purple monster, painfully injured, managed to escape. It thought to itself, "I poured all my demonic chi into defending, yet I'm still severely injured like this. That kid must also be seriously hurt. Moreover, the barrier has been dispelled, so I can continue to hide." It wondered in confusion. "Huh? Why can't I use stealth technique?" At this moment, Hei-chin had grabbed the purple-haired one's hair. He said, "Where are you going? Let's keep playing, shall we?" The purple-haired one thought in fear. Why is he completely unharmed? Just then, Hei-chin, with a determined look, prepared to punch the purple-haired one. At the moment of the explosion, the stone shield art was cast, and something pierced deep into Hei-chin's abdomen. Suddenly, the wound on his abdomen rapidly healed. He thought, the Dragon Lord used his power again. The purple-haired one glanced at him suspiciously. Why is he completely unharmed? Hei-chin stood behind, holding a lock of the purple-haired one's hair in his hand. The Golden Core Realm Blazing Flame Solitary Demon spat out a flame. The purple-haired one stood there, taking the full brunt of the flame. The flame surged violently, as if wanting to tear through space with its suffocating heat. The purple-haired one was utterly desperate, only able to watch. The orange-red light swirled like cracked lava, and the scorching heat emanating from the flame made the entire space seem to tremble. Hei-chin stood from above, witnessing the entire scene.
He hid behind a large rock. In his heart, he wondered, wasn't this fire-breathing great demon the one from the more difficult cave? Why had it run over here? His eyes widened in surprise when he saw something. A dazzling blue surge of power erupted, its sharp, cold light tearing through the rock surface. A massive blue rock appeared in front of Hei-chin. He turned around, discovering the back of some enormous monster. When he saw its entire body clearly, Hei-chin exclaimed in astonishment, "Why has the great demon from the third cave also come here? A golden Korom Hangu great demon?" His eyes lit up, and his divine sense was unleashed. Red circles diffused like shockwaves, shaking the entire space. A group of 3 people stood quietly behind a hidden corner. Hei-chin glanced at them, thinking to himself, as expected, those 3 are up to something. Without much thought, he leaped up. He charged directly towards the Hangu great demon. The purple-haired person thought to himself, Hei-chin just charged head first. The Hangu great demon unleashed streams of blue light, which flew straight towards Hei-chin, but before they could touch him, he vanished. The purple-haired person was utterly astonished by the sight.
A stream of blue light flew straight towards Blazing Flame Solitary Demon, but it punched it straight down to the ground. The moment it hit the ground, a huge explosion occurred, causing Blazing Flame Solitary Demon to be frozen. The purple-haired man looked down from above, thinking to himself, so it's using ice to slay the demon? Suddenly, a golden energy was unleashed. Blazing Flame Solitary Demon broke free from the ice, angrily spitting out a flame. The flame flew towards Hangu, but was blocked. Everywhere the flame passed was incinerated, except for where Hangu stood, which was completely unharmed. Both Blazing Flame Solitary Demon and Hangu were extremely surprised, not understanding what was happening. The purple-haired man exclaimed helplessly, "You 2 idiots!" Hangu was furious, unleashing a burst of energy. Blazing Flame Solitary Demon couldn't dodge in time, was hit by the attack, and staggered back a few steps. From a distance, a figure appeared, drawing their attention. It was Hei-chin. He provoked them. "Come here, you lot." Hearing this, Blazing Flame Solitary Demon and Cold Solitary Demon quickly ran towards Hei-chin. They continuously launched attacks, as fierce as wild beasts about to break free from their cages. After provoking them, Hai-Chin fled, leaving them behind to unleash their fierce attacks. 3 other figures appeared at the cave entrance. Yi-Hong pointed at the cave mouth, wondering, why is the sound of fighting getting closer and closer? Zang gritted his teeth and explained, he intends to lure all those demons towards us. Does he think we're fools, that we don't know how to escape? In Zhang's mind, he thought, surrounded and attacked by 3 demons, yet he's still alive and even trying to pull the monsters back towards us. I didn't expect this guy with connections to have some real strength. He ordered, let's go, retreat to the entrance of the secret realm. If anything happens, we'll bolt immediately.
As Zhang took a few steps, the ground began to shake and a red light gradually rose. Zhang was startled, realizing it was a trap formation. Then, a massive explosion erupted, like a giant mushroom cloud, sending debris flying everywhere. Zhang quickly escaped before being engulfed. The explosion left a large crater in the ground. Yi-Hong was injured, one of her arms severed. She urgently pleaded with Zhang, brother, please heal me quickly. But Zhang turned his back and walked away with a cold expression. Yi-Hong couldn't believe it. Brother! A circle had surrounded the entire cave. Zhang spoke up. When was this trap barrier set up? He felt a chill down his spine when he heard Hai-Kin's reply. Of course, it was when you first started acting kind. Hai-Kin stepped in, sneering. Did you really think I wouldn't be on guard against you? Zhang, enraged, unleashed a golden energy. How dare you set a trap for me? Light escape, light blast bomb. Hai-Kin countered. How did you know I was planning to turn the tables on you? Remnant concealment spell. Zhang was alarmed. What do you mean? Hai-Kin suddenly vanished. The light blast bomb summoned by Zhang flew straight towards a giant demon shadow. It flew directly into the body of the blazing flame solitary demon, causing an explosion. Zhang couldn't believe it. He was utterly terrified when he saw the monster.
The blazing flame solitary demon stared at him as if he were an idiot. It was enraged, flames erupting from its head, throwing everything into utter chaos. The spewing flames burned fiercely, sending everyone scattering in panic, creating a tragic scene. Yi-Hong lay on the cold ground, exclaiming, "Save me!" The flames grew larger, painting a vast expanse of the sky crimson. Zhang knelt down, gripping the ground tightly. Suddenly, a brilliant light pierced through the dark night. A loud voice echoed, "Light shield." Zhang struggled to stand between 2 different extremes. He spoke up, "Am I supposed to fight 2 demons by myself? Don't just stand there, help me." A slender figure stood unsteadily, swaying back and forth. Panic was evident in those eyes. Sha Tian's eyes widened. Another sneak attack. Even a cultivator like me didn't detect it. A long, sharp sword, enveloped in dark aura, was rushing forward. Hai-Kin stood firm, gripping the sword tightly in his hand. Zhang saw his figure, utterly panicked. Behind the cliff, someone was silently observing.
Xiaoling thought to herself, hidden brilliance is my lifelong ultimate technique. How did he know it just by looking? Fighting against someone like that, what are my chances of winning? This barrier is just a space. Should I really enter it? Suddenly, a massive explosion occurred, shattering the cliff face into pieces. Many cannon blasts were fired continuously. Zhang was also fighting fiercely. He turned, his mouth agape in bewilderment. The flames were still burning fiercely. Another shield was being created, along with a voice saying, "Great light flash." The fragile shield amidst the raging fire. Cold, sharp eyes stood there observing. The battle remained incredibly tense and fierce. A sinister, triumphant smile became visible behind the smoke. Zhang, in tattered clothes, used the great demon's attack to break the barrier. Who doesn't know how to use borrowed strength? No matter where you hide, you won't have a chance to take the university entrance exam. Zhang pointed. Wait until I get out. I will gather the Sect's masters, and everyone in your entire sect will surely die. Suddenly, a blade strike came from behind, injuring him. Xiaoling held the sword in her hand, calm amidst Zhang's bewilderment. You? A demon like you, why help an immortal cultivator? Xiaoling glanced over. Indeed, who knows? Zhang collapsed to the ground under her gaze. From behind him, an unusual figure appeared.
Xiaoling cast a cold glance. A pair of repulsive eyes stared wide in the darkness. Flames once again erupted fiercely, incinerating everything on the ground, utterly terrifying. But with just one sword strike from Xiaoling, the entity was cleaved in 2. With swift, agile movements, she finished it off in an instant. A flurry of continuous sword strikes was unleashed in a flash as Xiaoling swiftly executed her attacks. She retracted her sword and slowly walked across the ground. Suddenly, Xiaoling knelt down, her face bowed low. She spoke, "You, immortal cultivator, if you do not disdain me, I vow to join your sect and follow you for the rest of my life." Streaks of lightning suddenly appeared above Xiaoling's head. Hai-Chin looked on and asked, "Why are you suddenly surrendering in the middle of a fight?" She replied, "If it weren't for your solitary demonic flame being unleashed, I would have been killed by you just now. I can see that you were different from other immortal cultivators. My abilities, you could master them just by observing once.
You once challenged a Sect master, and you are the youngest, most promising person I have ever met.
Just then, I had already found those two idiot demons an eyesore for a while. I conveniently presented their heads as a calling card. These are their demon cores, and I've also collected materials like blazing flame mushroom and cold bone grass for you. Hei Qin stared intently and said, "What kind of skill is it to present someone else's demon cores as a calling card? If you have skill, hand over your own demon core." Xiaoling was stunned upon hearing this, her eyes wide. She held the sword in her hand behind her back, then tremblingly clasped her hands and brought them up, stammering. She reached inside her body and slowly took it out. Xiaoling said seriously, "This is Disciple's demon core. Please accept it, master." A voice rang out from inside the house. "Who is it so early in the morning?" Hei Qin pushed the door open and said, "So it's Tan Hui." Tan Hui replied, "I was doing my morning exercises and stopped by to bring master some breakfast." Hei Qin wondered, "Didn't I give you the key? You could have just come straight in." "Ah, no, that's not right. You should still knock first." She retorted, "What if master was doing something strange inside the house?" Hei Qin shivered and repeated, "Strange things?" Tan Hui was surprised. "Strange? Explain yourself. I wasn't doing anything strange in the house." She cut him off. "No, that's not—"
This room gives me a strange feeling. Like, suddenly she became vigilant upon noticing something unusual. Tianhui quickly used her skill, gripping it tightly in her hand until it was distorted. Tianhui concluded, "There's a demon at work." Xiaoling calmly said, "I originally intended to tap your shoulder and give you a scare. Although I didn't intentionally suppress my aura, and my concealment cultivation method wasn't activated to its fullest extent, you still caught me. Senior sister has some skill." Tianhui helplessly said, "Senior sister, master has taken a demon as a disciple. It seems master is truly desperate." She opened the door. Since things were like this, it was better to take a bath first. Just then, there was another knock at the door. "Who is it this time?" Hei Qin asked, "Who's there?" The person outside the door replied, "It's me, Wang Ping." He was surprised. Why would he suddenly come here? Hei Qin ordered, "Quickly hide. The person knocking is also a cultivator, and I'm not familiar with him yet. I don't know how he'll react if he sees you." Suddenly, his eyes widened in panic, looking towards the bathroom. And then, Hei Qin went to open the door. As soon as Wang Ping's face appeared, he offered a faint smile. Hei Qin asked curiously, "What a rare guest. Why is friend Wang free to visit me?"
Wang Ping took out a piece of parchment and said, "Your letter of recommendation." The young man praised happily, "You're really handsome. Thank you so much. How did you know I was missing this?" Wang Ping replied with his arms crossed, "That day I heard you hadn't registered with the sect yet, so I went back to my family to ask for a letter of recommendation. I thought that if I couldn't recruit you into a sect, I might as well see the good deed through to the end, and relationships have to start somewhere." Suddenly, Wang Ping's gaze changed. "Wait a minute, is this the only thing you're missing? Have you already resolved the challenges from the other sect masters?" The young man replied, "That's right." Wang Ping praised, "You're impressive. I knew you were formidable, but I didn't expect you to be that formidable. All right, I'm leaving now. If I ever need your help in the future, you must come find me." Hei Qin agreed. "All right, I will." At this moment, a carriage was moving swiftly on the road. The bodyguard asked curiously, "Young master is very concerned about him." Wang Ping replied, He has great potential." The bodyguard asked curiously, "Is it because he comes from a humble background yet broke through to the condensing true realm early?" "That's right. He doesn't have the immortal cultivator resources of a wealthy family, so to be able to achieve this much is already quite impressive. But this city isn't without people in the condensing true realm who come from better backgrounds than him. The scholarly families in this circle are the ones Old Master favors." Wang Ping retorted, "Of course, Old Master's ways must be respected, but I also have my own requirements. Furthermore, you follow me. If you keep bringing up Old Master, you might as well get lost." The bodyguard said anxiously, I spoke out of turn just now. Young Master's admonishment is right. From now on, I will definitely listen to you." Wang Ping fell into contemplation, recalling, "Condensing true realm. The feeling I got just now, I'm afraid he has already broken through to the golden core realm."
The Sect's registration status board here has been fully updated. Hei Qin looked on with satisfaction. "This is good. I thought he had harbored for a long time." Speaking of which, those two have been inside for a long time. This amount of time should be enough for a thorough scrubbing. What exactly are they doing in there? Xiaoling replied, "Finally, the obstruction has left." At that moment, she casually reached out and pulled back the curtain. Xiaoling flashed a bewitching smile. Tianhui, who was bathing, was startled. "What do you want to do?" She replied, "If one has pledged allegiance to the sect, shouldn't one examine senior sister's true form?" She blushed. "What kind of behavior is that?" Xiaoling acted roguishly. "Don't be shy. Weren't you quite decisive when you broke my invisibility earlier?" Tianhui was so angry she couldn't speak. "You," and then she attacked. "You should know your limits."
A moment later, a scream echoed from the apartment building. "Whose gas cylinder exploded?" Hei Qin stood there, glancing at the mess that had just occurred. He scoffed. "You two really went all out. You almost destroyed my house. My landlord has already paid for the repairs. The task of paying for the rest is assigned to you. Since your demon core is with me, consider this easy task as practice for you." Ah, using the system, the task of paying for the rest has arrived to compensate for the pre-approved repair costs. Xiaoling was surprised. "Huh,
I didn't follow you to do these boring things. He reminded her, complete this task well, and I'll give you something better, perhaps even return your demon core. She shrugged in agreement. All right. Tianhu, who was tying her hair next to them, said, this task should be given to me. After all, my attacks are rather weak. Hei Qin replied, I have a more important task. I've approved the Blood Buddha Curse Seal. You'll handle the supplementary task. She wondered, Blood Buddha Curse Seal, the same name as that knife? He responded, yes, I've integrated the effects of the Blood Buddha into the blood curse on you all. From now on, you won't need to take out that knife every time you fight. Immediately, a mark appeared on Tianhu's hand. She remembered, oh right, hasn't senior sister been on that supplementary weapon upgrade task for too long? Hei Qin scratched his head and explained, I assigned her another supplementary task. A moment later, a curious voice echoed from the forest. Master, why are you targeting senior sister alone?
At the same time, Old Man Dao was exercising. Retirement was truly blissful. Although his pension was modest, he had earned a considerable amount before. The old man's days were still very good. More importantly, he no longer had to face ferocious demons. Then, suddenly, something strange appeared above his head. A massive monster opened its mouth towards Old Man Dao. Just as it was about to bite him, it suddenly stopped. Unexpectedly, someone said, you're blocking the exit. Move aside a bit. And then it was attacked, its body immediately mutating. All of this was Long On's doing. As night fell, Long On and Old Man Dao were below. He thought to himself, although I can't precisely gauge its level, I'm certain this great demon's demonic chi is stronger than Mako's last time. With just one kick from her, has Long On achieved such a significant breakthrough in just a few short months? Then Old Man Dao spoke. Long On, thank you for saving my life. But then Long On spoke, full of doubt. Who are you? He scratched his head and gave an awkward laugh. Don't you remember me anymore? I'm your former director. I retired early. She remembered. The old man who took my money to let me skip a grade? Teacher, I remember. No need for thanks, it was just a minor thing. It's your good fortune that you could live and retire. Later, Old Man Dao walked alone on the dark road. He mused. In the future, if I repay all the money I collected previously, perhaps my good fortune could be even greater.
Old Dao decided that he would return the money he had received tomorrow. Then his gaze fixed forward. Old Dao's heart grew restless. He felt that something was amiss. If he remembered correctly, the chemistry teacher should have been on duty today, but he couldn't sense her spiritual energy. More importantly, there was a metallic, bloody smell in the air. From around a street corner, strange sounds echoed. At that instant, a cloaked figure appeared before him.
Old Dao pointed his finger and scolded. What class are you two students from? It's late and you're not home. Still loitering in the alley behind the school? The mysterious figure asked. What makes you think we're students? His eyes widened in horror. Old Dao saw a streak of blood under the person's robe. Both sides stood frozen in place at the sight. He scratched his head and forced a laugh. Look at me. I forgot I'm retired. My occupational disease is flaring up again. Immediately after, Old Dao quickly turned and fled. Old Dao felt uneasy, sensing something was wrong. Normally, he could sense if an opponent was stronger or weaker than him, but with these two, he couldn't sense anything at all. Just then, the person behind him shouted, "Stop!" Old Dao quickly darted forward using the divine movement technique. A large trail of smoke followed where he ran. Old Dao judged. Like this, I can create a distance of several hundred meters, and at the same time make a call to report. But then the mysterious figure said, "The speed of an ordinary person running at night? I thought you were a cultivator." Old Dao was horrified. His divine movement technique was merely the speed of an ordinary person in their eyes. And then he attacked him with immense power. Finally, only the sound of a phone shattering remained in the space. Those people discussed. "We said to be discreet, yet you caused such a big commotion. If this operation fails because of you," the other person replied, "I won't ask the Great King to help you. I've suppressed the magical power to its lowest level. It won't wake up the nearby residents. It's fine. I've already pasted a soundproofing talisman on the wall earlier, so the people inside won't hear anything. Quickly clean up the scene and leave." A long while later, they moved up the cliff. Then one of them spoke up. "This is the location where we will act when the time comes." A mysterious voice carried a hint of danger. "Finally, it's my turn." Someone observing the scene exclaimed, "So he's already made a name for himself and achieved great things." When the light returned, Hei Chen was walking alone on the road. He mused. The disciples had already gone to complete their debt-repaying missions, so he could only go to school alone to pick up his exam papers. Just then, a luxurious car pulled up in front of Hei Chen. He glanced at the scene in bewilderment. And then, the door slowly opened, much to Hei Chen's surprise. A man in the car asked, "Are you Hei Chen?" Hei Chen replied loudly, "Yes, and you are?" The bodyguard next to him shouted, "Are you blind? You don't even recognize the sect master of the 100 Refinement Sect." He asked curiously, "100 Refinement Sect?" The man interjected, "Never mind.
He transferred from a regular high school to the cultivation graduation class, so being behind on information is normal. Let's get to the main point. This is a letter of recommendation that can help you skip the entrance test and directly enter Cultivation University. Haechin said, "Things are starting to look up for me. Such a big pie suddenly fell in my head."
He looked stunned. Isn't it Qingbei? The bodyguard pointed and scolded, "You don't know what's good for you. So many people dream of getting this direct admission opportunity without an exam, and you're still here being picky." He said, "Although it's not Qingbei, the university I'm recruiting you for is also a top 100 Immortal Cultivator university. You must know, the Immortal Cultivator students' New Year's exam is not like ordinary people's college entrance exams. For ordinary people, it's one person, one test, and high or low scores don't affect their lives. But in the Immortal Cultivator students' exam venue, if you're not careful, you will die there." He confidently said, "Then I still want to try. I feel like I can get into the top 10. Haechin watched the car leave, thinking to himself, "It should be fine. Why did he run off before listening to what I had to say? This person is even more impolite than me." Later in the car, the bodyguard curiously asked, "Sect Master, this kid is unyielding. Are you really worried he will affect Young Master's performance? Young Master just didn't perform well. He only got second place in the second mock exam." The Sect Master replied, "I simply cannot allow anyone to refuse me. Go make arrangements. You must ensure he doesn't survive to set foot in the exam venue."